There we go, and that's Umineko. Okay. Hey, OBS started capturing really quickly today. That's pretty nice. If I see what happens if I maximize it. Full screen? I mean, I don't want to. Anyway. Went and did my taxes today. That was my day. I mean, I say that was my day. Took like less than 2 hours and I was back home. But it was still something I was not dreading, not looking forward to, more like, okay, let's just get this out of the way. I think all I've really done outside that is, watch Mouse play level on it for a while, and I've translated on Labyrinth of Toho. Try. So I've had a pretty uneventful day, I guess. Let's see. So, I don't know how far I'm gonna get today, but I wanted to start episode 2. Episode 1 took how many streams? Let me just take a look. 6. Each was like 2 to 3 hours. So you can kind of take that as an estimate, I guess. This will probably take another 6 streams, maybe 5 if I read quickly. We'll see. So essentially, we've summed up a little bit about Shannon and George's relationship. Beatrice has just appeared and essentially given Shannon the offer of, if she smashes a mirror and a shrine off the island by a bit, she will unite her and George in a relationship. Otherwise, she will never have George. We know that she did this because we saw it in the opening to episode 2. But I believe the point that we're at in the story right now is before that's happened. So that'll be a bit later on that we'll see that again. As Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the garden, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking that if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she saw was that witch. But Beatrice-sama, it's been quite some time. How are you? Has your relationship with the one you love progressed since last we met? As Beatrice sat in the rose arch, she happily blew in her pipe. Oh, actually, this might be after she's done it. I think it is. I'm not sure. We'll see. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses, and it might have been dangerous if the arch fell over, but this was a witch after all. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time. Yes, thanks to you, it's going smoothly. So yeah, this is after that actually. He just kind of did like a quiet time skip at one point. Naturally, the effects of my magic are immediate. Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that is a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it. I understand that. The witch was calling attention to something. 2 things, actually. First, that Shannon's relationship with George was a fate that'd be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances. Second, that the power of the witch was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just gotten wrapped up in those sweet days, and had started believing the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. No, it might be impossible in the future as well. Sorry, please forgive me. It's just like doctors. You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you're healed, you forget even to thank them. I've never been thanked as a witch, so I couldn't help acting a little rudely. Forgive me. The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. It's thanks to your power that I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice-sama. And without that power, the fate that brought me and George-sama together would have never happened. I have never forgotten that. Sorry. It's not like I came here to bully you. Being rude is just part of my personality. Oh, she's not wrong. Do forgive me. More importantly, I heard. So you went on a trip alone with him. I imagine it must have been quite fun. Yes, it was very, fun. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly, as though amused by the speed of that transformation. Already, the one you care for is more than the object of one-sided love. You are a pair of lovers now. When 2 people are filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. Perhaps you could call that a wonderful ideal world. Hehehe, even witches would be jealous. Beatrice laughed pleasantly. That smile made her look as though she blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart, without a trace of malice. After that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. Even now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led her to her current relationship with George. So, Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared. That's right. Beatrice-sama, I bought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip. Would you, like to try some too? Oh, a souvenir for a witch? It seemed that even a witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hadn't imagined that she'd receive a souvenir from a sweet lover's trip. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of this witch as a friend for the first time. This is probably a pretty big surprise to anyone who was around for all of episode 1, and especially people who saw it end. Oh, an Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lard. To wrap that in Western chocolate is truly a blending... Oh, sorry, an Eastern cookie. To wrap that in Western chocolate is truly a blending of the Japanese one and Western styles, the Silk Road of sweets. What? What's so funny? Nothing. My apologies. This witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth. Right there. That is the face of pure love. Beatrice, my beloved. Hi. Ellie, my beloved. No, I don't want lap time though. No, why don't you settle down and lay down on the desk? Come on. Okay, fine. I give. I've mentioned this before, but whenever you start talking, she thinks you're talking to her and like calling to her and getting her attention. She's an absolute attention-focused cat. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter. A good meal. I should serve you some dulce vita from Nero one of these days. Roses are the symbol of eternal love. I believe a rose dulce would be appropriate for you now. The witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying modern candy. Here, I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this. The thing Shannon had softly set on the table was a gold-colored butterfly brooch. There's no need to return it. Is it brooch or brooch? I swear I've heard both. I'm going to Google. Brooch pronunciation. Brooch.
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 Brooch. Okay, it's brooch. Gotcha. There's no need to return that brooch. If you continue holding that, your relationship should remain firm in perpetuity. Maybe it was the power of magic that brought us together, but I think only the two of us working together can turn that into something that lasts forever. Love and roses are the same. Too much fertilizer causes the roots to rot. Some flowers cannot be raised without hard work. In that case, do as you wish. You may wear it or keep it in a box. That is my goodwill given to you. Having you return it to me won't please me at all. My apologies. That's not what I... No harm has been done. That brooch is already yours. If you treasure that proof of our friendship, it would indeed bring me some comfort. You may hold on to it and gain its benefits. Or you may keep it in a box. If you wish, you may even give it to another who is worrying about love. Or you could simply treasure it. Of course, it would pain my heart if you wasted it. According to Beatrice, she had appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons, to give them some tool imbued with magic power. However, when most people used that power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgot their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they'd been given with disgust. So it is quite rare for me to be thanked for my goodwill. In fact, this might even be the first time. The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past. No, maybe she was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch with a strange and terrifying power. Yukari and Beatrice, huh? There's actually a character we're going to meet later that is even more like Yukari, and very deliberately, I think. We won't meet her until episode 3, but if you think that Beatrice and Yukari are alike, wait until you meet Gap. And yes, her name is Gap. It's so on the nose. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around her if they could help it. Surely, even those who relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. It must have deeply hurt the witch to have that happen over and over. Since the time she'd started thinking that way, Shannon had tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. This was surely something that had tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Fancy dress but smug sinister grin. Do you know how many characters fancy dress and smug sinister grin describes in this game? You have no idea. Gap has both of those things. And she's also blonde. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion of the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were surprisingly few. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times, and it seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. Apparently, everyone has something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Cannon could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what Beatrice said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent, and no matter how much he followed them around, they would never notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon messed up and Natsuya got really mad at her, Beatrice had started playing around, hitting Natsuya on the head with her pipe. I see, Natsuya really doesn't notice a thing. That's where she gets the headaches from. But Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking, and had gotten scolded even more. Then, what about the Master? I hear he's been doing research in magic, so I'm sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice-sama. Kinzo is the same. He also has a pitiful lack of magical talent. It's the blood. He has so little talent that I pity him. As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Cross and the rest's lack of magic talent, as though she looked down on them, but she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the Umineko family would know about Kinzo's legend of the gold. According to that, Kinzo was given the gold after summoning the witch, Beatrice. In other words, she must have had some kind of relationship with Kinzo. That was because he succeeded despite having not even a scrap of talent. He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician. So he's the Marissa of this world. Not born with it, but he just worked really hard and he got it. And that's something really incredible, right? Indeed. The witch, who usually looked down on people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts. And then, the master summoned Beatrice-sama with the power of magic. Indeed. Well, I only answer the summons on a whim. After all, in this period where magic has long been denied, here was a man who was without a scrap of talent, yet so desperate to succeed. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him, and that's when my luck ran out. Can't do the Beatrice laugh. That was more like Sans. Her choice of words highlighted how much of a disaster this had been for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it would be safe to continue this discussion, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon. After all, his contract did have a proper format and set of rules. Various procedures were mixed up, but, well, in deference to his enthusiasm, I graciously accepted it. Then, I gave him a mountain of gold. And then the master used that gold and succeeded in business, and grew his wealth into what it is today. Indeed, his talent in magic was minimal, but it seems he had a knack for business and gambling. Or perhaps it was due to the bravery and madness that led him to risk everything on unreasonable bets. Madness sometimes acts as magical power. I see, if you look at it that way, perhaps it isn't quite fair to say he was completely lacking in magical talent. Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. Well, everyone in the Ushimura. There's an R missing in that. Well, everyone in the Ushiomiya family knew the story of how Kinzo idolized black magic, summoned a witch, and received the gold. In actuality, it was all rambling that no one believed in. And now, Shannon was having the story confirmed by the witch herself. She felt a little flustered by this incredible secret that only she knew. Once Kinzo gained his vast fortune, he could realize every dream that can be satisfied by objects obtainable in the human world. And in the end, he searched for the truth of this world. The truth of this world? The single element that makes up the world. Kinzo, who had gained everything one can obtain in the human world, searched for that, the final desire humans seek. A single element. She seemed to remember the witch using that word before. When Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what that was, she laughed bitterly, waving her hand and saying there was no need to worry. I underestimated Kinzo just a tad. I truly didn't expect him to display such power. And thanks to that, I'm in this state. I've been sewn in place on this island for several decades now, without even a friend to drink tea with. No matter whom I try to talk to, my voice doesn't reach them, and no matter where I go, I cannot do anything. Such boring decades. As she laughed in self-derision, that's a new word, she tapped her teacup with her finger. It made the light sound of pottery. Shanna didn't know whether the word self-derision, yeah, she didn't know it either, was really an accurate expression to describe the look on the witch's face. Shannon didn't understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation. And it was probably a topic that she couldn't press the witch on easily. Not unless the witch started talking about herself. Herself. To sum up everything she'd set up until now, Beatrice, who had been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave this island for some reason. And she had lost her power and her form, living her days in boredom. During that time, her words had reached Shannon, who never forgot to show sincere respect for the witch. And Shannon had helped the witch regain her power, if only a little bit. As a result, it was now possible for the witch to drink tea with Shannon like this. Breaking the mirror did something. Beatrice-sama, what in the world was that mirror you told me to break? Ah, that. Long ago, it seems various things happened on the islands around this area. Because of that, malignant forces gathered here and began to draw in an evil distortion. It seems a traveling Eastern magician or something built a shrine for the repose of souls and sealed them in there. That in itself has nothing to do with me, but unfortunately that magical power rested on a different foundation than mine. It created a strong interference with my magic and was extremely bothersome. Is that how it was? And I just assumed it existed only to seal you, Beatrice-sama. But she destroyed it anyway. I was not its target, but it was a divine mirror. As a result, my power was sealed away. To use food as an example, maybe it would go something like this. Let's say the Western food I ordered is being made in the kitchen. However, when they try to set the table, the area made for the guest seating is in the Japanese style with Japanese-style dishes. So the kitchen is unable to serve a plate that would be out of place, and no matter how long I wait, my Western food won't arrive. Something like that. So you destroyed that Japanese-style guest seating and returned the area to a blank slate for a time. Thanks to that, the meal I'd ordered was finally delivered, and my power came back, you could say. However, so far, only the, let's just say appetizers, because I don't know what aperitif has arrived. Appetizers have arrived. It will still be quite some time before the main dish. As I am now, I'm even more fragile than a shoe store fairy. What's so amusing? Nothing. I just thought your metaphor was pretty funny. I never would have thought to use a story about food as a metaphor for magic. I thought it a rather skillful comparison, but I certainly didn't expect it to be laughed at. I'm a bit offended. A slightly sulky expression rose to the witch's face. It wasn't a strange expression at all to be appearing in the face of some friends as they enjoyed their tea. Although I may not look it, I was known for doing extremely brutal things in the past. I've gotten soft. Now I can even have a foolish discussion while drinking tea with a human. She was probably talking to herself, as Beatrice gazed at the seabirds. Shouldn't that just say seagulls? Maybe not. Tracing the horizon, she put her tea to her lips again. The clouds have come out. When the ocean loses its brilliance, it's nothing more than a gray puddle. You think so? I think the ocean is a beautiful deep blue, even when it gets cloudy. Maybe the witch noticed the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty teacup. It seems those things buried in your eyes aren't black pebbles anymore. Yeah, I'm just wondering what it said. You know, it occurs to me. I had the means to check. Yep, it's correct. It's seabirds. It's not Umineko. It's good. I'm just being nitpicky and assuming there's mistakes because sometimes I see minor mistakes elsewhere. It's translator eyes, you know? I'm cursed with translator eyes. It's similar to Shinigami eyes. They cut down on my lifespan too. Just like Shinigami eyes. It seems those things buried in your eyes aren't black pebbles anymore. How is it? Do you see how it feels for furniture to be reborn as a human? Yes. I never knew the world was this kind. Since the start of her relationship with George, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile had made everything go smoothly and had even changed her fortune. Shannon made less mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was slowly starting to change. Just the other day, she'd been surprised when Kraus, who really exchanged words with her, had suddenly started talking to her. You've been wearing a splendid smile more often lately, haven't you? Has something good happened? No, but every day is fun, yes. Wonderful. It goes without saying that coffee is more delicious when poured with a smile. Could I ask for that smile once more? Yes, sir. Please don't hit on your servants. That had become a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her own heart, and it wasn't so big a change that anyone would notice. But she had begun to change, bit by bit. Shannon understood it clearly. Knowing love was the same as gaining a soul. The same as being reborn from furniture into a human. There was absolutely nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. By knowing love, Shannon had learned what it was to be human. These had been unusual snacks. It was time well spent. It's probably about time for you to return to your work, so let's end our tea party now. After all, it seems a certain person doesn't like seeing us drink tea together. Huh? The witch gripped a teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, sending it up in the air. After that, it was launched by the fingers of some invisible person, and flew straight into a nearby bush. The bush shook violently, and Ganon came out. It seemed he'd been there for some time, watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he hadn't caught it in an instant, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood. Do not worry. Our tea party is over now, Ganon. How long were you there? If you'd called to us, I'd have poured you some tea too. I imagine that you didn't want to interrupt a pair of women talking, right? Ganon kept silent, but there seemed to be a slightly hostile look in his eyes, just slightly. On the outside, he acted with respect, but unlike Shannon, Ganon did not trust the witch. When Beatrice hit the table with her pipe, the tea set turned into gold butterflies, which flew upwards all at once. They then scattered in every direction, and the cleanup was already done. It was fun, Shannon. Let us meet again if the chance arises. My magical power is still quite lacking. It's tiring even to show myself. If you're that tired, never appear again. Ganon had said it in a small voice, but the witch seemed to have heard it perfectly. She giggled, but did not reply. Shannon, tell me more about George at our next tea party. There are no snacks sweeter than a person's love life. See you again. Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies, which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a fantastical and beautiful scene, like a blizzard of gold leaf. For a while, Shannon quietly watched the witch's exit. Ganon approached her from behind and spoke with an expression that was drastically different from hers. Nay-san, didn't I tell you to stay away from her? Beatrice-sama isn't that bad of a person. Yes, she might be a little shady, but the fact that only we can see her is suspicious enough. That thing isn't human. Who knows what she might be planning? Ganon-kun, I think that's a little rude. There was a touch of sternness in Shannon's voice, which was unusual for her. But Ganon, who knew her well, she must have sounded extremely stern. Ganon, looking excessively surprised, considering Shannon's tone, fell silent. It's true that Beatrice-sama is different from humans. She has a terrifying power, so I think it's right for us to fear and respect her. Still, I think it's incredibly rude to despise her just because she isn't human. I understand what you're trying to say, Nei-san. You've changed ever since she gave you that brooch. It's like you're her prisoner. She brought you and George-sama together, and now you're indebted to her. Don't say things like that. That thing isn't human. We don't know what she's thinking. But you mustn't trust her. And we aren't humans either, Nei-san. Ganon's words grew more serious. Those words probably gouged at Shannon's heart. She bit her lower lip and hung her head. We are furniture. Even if we receive names and are treated as humans, that won't change the manner of our birth. You are no longer furniture. Those words Beatrice had given her, which had made her happiest, floated through Shannon's mind. I am not furniture. No, you are furniture. We are less than human. Nei-san, you're just pretending to have forgotten, pretending to be human. You know that as well as I do. I am not furniture. I'm human. No, you aren't. We have never possessed what it takes to love or be loved. Ganon's criticism seemed to have shifted away from Shannon's meetings with the witch. Shannon picked up on that quickly. I heard from my lady. Seriously, what were you thinking? I can't believe you would go on a trip with George-sama. You've forgotten your place as furniture. You've just been tempted by that witch, mistakenly believing that you've become human. Listen, Ganon-kun. It's true that we're furniture. Lesser beings, inferior to humans. But if it were possible to make up for what we lack, wouldn't that be the same as becoming human? Such a thing could never happen. No, it could. If we can do that, we won't be furniture anymore. We can become human. Ridiculous. As if you could ever do such a thing. Ganon spat those words out, but did so weakly and turned away. He was probably giving up. After all the suffering he'd undergone during those days he'd lived as furniture, his heart was firmly sealed. You can do it too, Ganon-kun. You can become a normal human. Stop it. That's the witch talking. Yes, Beatrice-sama taught me. By obtaining the single element of this world, we can become human. Or rather, nobody's human if they don't have that. That's why people spend their entire lives trying to gain that single element. I don't understand what you're saying, Nei-san. I don't want to listen to ranting. Then I'll teach it in a way even you can understand. Look, see what I'm pointing at? Shannon quietly pointed at the sea, towards the horizon. Kanan didn't understand what she meant, and couldn't do anything except look between the horizon and Shannon's expression, which seemed to be posing a riddle. The sea. Kanan-kun, what color does the sea look to you? It was an extremely simple question. For a while, Kanan tried to guess at the meaning behind it, but he couldn't think of anything, so he answered obediently. It's a hazy, dark gray color. So what? Objectively speaking, the sea, laid out beneath a cloudy sky, could probably be described best by Kanan's words. But as Shannon closed her eyes and smiled, she shook her head slightly. It looks deep blue to me. Is that what you mean? Like how Japanese people use the word blue to refer to a green traffic light? No, the sea is deep blue. If I understand and you don't, then that's the difference between us. Kanan bit his lower lip. It was silent for a while. I don't understand. Kanan-kun, would you stick out your hand? As Kanan was taken aback, unable to understand what she was saying, she took his arm and opened the palm of his hand. Shannon softly said something there. It was that magic brooch which she'd received from Beatrice. A magic charm shaped like a gold butterfly that could bring love to fruition. This is hers? No, this is mine. So think of it as me and treat it with respect, okay? After being spoken to like that, he couldn't just throw it away. Kanan didn't know what he should do, and he stood there confused for a while, the brooch still in the palm of his hand. Shannon put the palm of her hand on top of Kanan's, and the brooch was warmed by both of their hands. This charm holds true magical power. I'm sure it'll teach you an important emotion, Kanan-kun. There's nothing to be learned from that person's magic. No, there is something, so wear it. If that's embarrassing, I hear it's okay if you just hide it in your pocket. Ridiculous. As if I'd let the magic of that person lead me astray. Even as he said that, Kanan couldn't be cold-hearted towards something Shannon was urging him to take. In the end, Kanan took it and agreed reluctantly, saying he'd prove that he wouldn't surrender to the witch's power. Shannon smiled and nodded back. I'm sure you'll be able to learn something important from it. And I'm sure you can become human. And when you do, I'm sure this ocean will look like a beautiful blue to you as well, Kanan-kun. Gray is gray no matter how many times you look. That's wrong, Kanan-kun. It only looks like that because you have no... Huh? Because of the howling wind, he hadn't been able to catch the main point of what she just said. So, Shannon said it once more. The single element of the world. She spoke once more of the world where it existed, where the sea was deep blue. I'm sure you'll be able to see a deep blue ocean too. After all, without love, it cannot be seen. That's almost the motto of Umineko right there. In fact, I think they even put that phrase in the anime opening. As part of the lyrics. Who is that? It is Kanan, Master. It was rare for Kinzo to leave his study. However, the fact that he had didn't mean his noble research had been suspended. He may have left the study because of a change in mood, but that didn't mean the thoughts filling his head were any different from those he had while inside the study. Kanan knew that no matter what the time, speaking to Kinzo when he didn't want to be spoken to would always disturb his research. It's cloudy out there. Will it get worse? Yes. According to the weather report, it could rain at any time. Shall we bring an umbrella? It will not come to that. Leave me alone for a while. If my children ask, say that you do not know where I am. I am busy on a journey through my own thoughts. Certainly. Then, if you would excuse me. Before Kanan finished bowing, Kinzo had already returned to his own world, having forgotten Kanan's presence completely. And once again, he began rambling to himself. Amidst those words, the name of that witch popped up many times. Oh, Beatrice, my hand will not reach your smile. What can I do to revive you? What can I do to make you smile at me once more? What is lacking? My research? My materials? My catalyst? Or is it magical power? A rock? Or an oracle? Oh, Beatrice, what can I do to see your face one more time? Oh... As Kanan listened to his master's weeping voice with his back turned, he turned around just once. When he did, right behind his isolated old master, was the shadow of a person who shouldn't have been there. It was the witch. At once, thinking that the witch must be plotting to do Kinzo some harm, Kanan dashed back to Kinzo and tried to form a shield with his body. But when he saw the expression on the witch's face, that emotion of his vanished. After all, Beatrice's expression was sorrowful, or maybe pitying. You fool, Kinzo. Can't you see me, even though I'm here? Right behind Kinzo, as he repeated the witch's name over and over, desiring to be reunited with her more than anything else, was the witch herself. And yet, Kinzo didn't notice anything. When Beatrice tried to rest her hand on his shoulder, he didn't notice. Why does my hand not reach Beatrice's smile? Is it the age of the moon? The cycle of the comets? The alignment of the planets? What is lacking? What is? What is? It's useless, Kinzo. Without love, it cannot be seen. Then took the brooch he'd received from Shannon out of his pocket. By winning something new, would he be able to glimpse something he couldn't see now? Without love, it cannot be seen. He looked at Kinzo's back once more, which could no longer be seen there. This might seem like a lot of fluff, but it really isn't. This is like really solid world building and like a good introduction to Beatrice's character as well. Since we didn't really get to see her at all in episode 1 until the tea party at the end, after all. We'll be seeing a lot more of her from here on out, like exponentially more. Like I said before, Ballard and Beatrice are essentially the main characters. Just give it a bit of time for Ballard to show back up. We'll get there eventually. We need to catch up to October 1986. The biggest fall event for the Ushimura family was the family conference in October. Hey! What did I say? Oh, we're not there yet. But to Jessica, there was another major event that came before that, the school cultural festival. Jessica liked school. To her, it was a place where she could let out the stress she built up from the rigid lifestyle she was forced to lead at home. For today's cultural festival, she'd formed a group with her friends, and had announced that they'd perform some light music on a temporary stage, K-On! Which is what light music is, by the way. It's a translation of K-On! She had prepared and practiced for this over and over until today, always anxiously awaiting this day's arrival. But there was one thing that worried her. She looked at the clock. There was still a little time, but she felt uneasy. Did that person really come? After taking a single deep breath, her heart jumped when all her friends suddenly started speaking in shrill voices. No way, Hina's boyfriend is so awesome, isn't he? Isn't he? Red's boyfriend looks really smart. Is it true that guy is a glasses beast? Huh? No way, no, my husband will be a pretty boy. May not be like this for all girls, but at least at Jessica's school, the cultural festival is basically a boyfriend exhibition. I don't know what a glasses beast is either. Hey, Yuzu, let's see what the Japanese says. I'm not really sure what it's trying to say, honestly. It says Rin's boyfriend looks like he's really smart. Is he like monster glasses? Cruel glasses, probably not literally meaning cruel. Who knows? I'd have to Google it. And I don't think that's what we're here for. When Umineko. Sure. Let's see. Let's see if it says anything. Is this like a phrase at all? Oh my god. It's the name. You're not gonna believe this. It's the name of a Japanese adult visual novel released in 2007. So it was a porn VN joke. Okay. Yep. All right. Thanks. Thanks, Umineko author. Good one. She had many friends of the opposite sex, but no special only one. But Jessica was a little famous around the school, and everyone thought it'd be natural for her to have a fitting partner. Furthermore, her pride had led her to pretend that this was true. Again? She'd somehow managed to keep them fooled until this year. It's very manly. There's two men on the front cover that look like they're in a relationship of some sort. A very manly one. They kind of look like clones of each other. That's just kind of how this art style is, though. But for various reasons, she hadn't been able to escape this year's cultural festival. Jesse, is your boyfriend here? What? No, looks like he's not here yet. Maybe he's busy with work. So what kind of person is he, Jesse? At least give us a hint. What kind of relationship? What kind of relationship? Awesome, so he's a working man. Will he come in a suit? Who the hell would show up in a suit to a school cultural festival? Of course he'll be wearing glasses, right? Yeah, he doesn't actually exist, right? If you come clean now, why don't you join us? Let's cry together through this year's cultural festival. When the schoolgirls cry. When they cry 7. When the schoolgirls cry. That would actually be Igenbana no Sakuyori ni when the Spider Lilies Bloom, which is another VN written by the same guy, which is about bullying and yokai. That's probably the closest thing we'd get to when the schoolgirls cry. So it's really dark. I read it a long time ago. I don't think that one's on Steam, is it? I'm trying to think. Did I read that in Japanese? Was there a patch for it? Oh god, it's been a long time. Hold on. It's a long time ago. Surely, like, was my Japanese even good enough to read that back then? Higenbana no Sakuyori. Online game. It's not an online game. I mean, like, it's a digital game. Well, an online game. Hey, Zelda fan. Let's see. No, it's never been released in English? No way. Why not? It has a patch. Apparently. Like, an unofficial one. Huh. I'm surprised. I mean, it really should be by now. Weird. Weird. Maybe it's not as well known as I thought it was. I guess, to be fair, like, most people know Ryukichi 7 for Higurashi. Like, half of those people know him for Umineko. And half of those people know him for Higenbana, probably. And I don't know anything about his newest series, and the When They Cry series, the, like, thing that comes after Umineko, that's called, Ciconia. Like, when the Ciconia cry. I don't know what a Ciconia is. Is that, a bug? I don't know. I haven't read that. I know nothing. I'm kind of waiting to get into that. Eventually. I'll probably read it. I assume that's like getting translated as it comes out. I think it's still ongoing. No, he exists. He exists. I told you, he really exists. Jessica's bitter smile was covered with cold sweat. It was starting to seem doubtful whether she really had deceived her sharp-witted friends. Then the Ace Attorney Pursuit theme starts playing. Okay, then how about making a fake boyfriend and taking him with you? A fake? Who? I can't think of anyone who'd do that. Shannon's ridiculous plan surprised Jessica into hysterics. Even so, it was probably more realistic than the crazy methods running through her head about getting a boyfriend in the big rush before the cultural festival. Go on. Up. Go up on the shelf. Don't sit around in front of the camera. Wouldn't mind it if you weren't in front of the screen. For example, what about Kanen-kun? Kanen-kun? No way. Anyway, I'm sure Kanen-kun has work on the day of the festival, and I don't want to bother him. Of course, I've already checked the schedule. Kanen-kun has that day off. Why are you always so clever when it comes to stuff like this? No, wait. It'd be even worse if he's off. I can't pull him away from a precious day off just for my own vanity. If you don't pull Kanen-kun away, he'll always be shut away by himself. So I think it'd be perfect if you could drag him out of his shell. You think so? It's a cute face. No, but I feel bad for him. There is kind of something cute about, like, the way this author draws faces. Doing math. Have fun. And I guess you're out of options. How about meekly confessing to everyone that you don't have a boyfriend? True, it may be terribly embarrassing, but you'd only have to endure for the short and yet long time before graduation. To a pair of lovers, there is no sweeter honey than the face of a single person with an inferiority complex. Shannon, you aren't really worrying for my sake, are you? You're teasing me, right? Jessica wrestled about with Shannon, her eyes teary, but Shannon wasn't fazed, laughing with her usual smile. Yes, this is to get you back for making fun of me and George-san all the time. Listening to Shannon's comeback, the likes of which didn't happen even once a year, Jessica hugged her cushion and rolled around in her bed, pretending to faint in agony. She couldn't stand Shannon's smile, which looked so triumphant, but right now, she was the only person Jessica could talk with. She could choke her to death with her cushion later. Is it really so bad, my lady? It's a cultural festival, but it's also a chance for you to have fun with Kanen-kun. No, that may be true, but no. Jessica buried her head in her favorite pillow to hide the fact that her face had grown bright red. And she grumpily chewed the fingernail on her thumb. It really was a reaction to be appreciated. Shannon and Jessica were of about the same age, of the same sex, and friends. And they were both right in the middle of puberty. they could never talk enough about love. That's why they could talk freely about these topics to each other. So Jessica had heard a lot about how Shannon and George's love was progressing, and Shannon had heard a lot about what type Jessica liked, what kind of man she might be interested in. Judging by Jessica's reaction, it'd probably be rude for us to go into precisely what these things were. However, this story won't get anywhere if we just have Jessica rolling around forever, so let's dive in. Jessica had been thinking about Kennen ever since she'd shown up. It was extremely rare for young men to visit Okenjima, so maybe it was natural for Jessica, a girl in puberty, to develop an interest in Kennen. But if anyone said that, it would destroy the romantic ideals of a maiden's pure heart and love at first sight. Shannon had been with Kennen a long time at the orphanage, so she'd known him since before they started working. So Jessica had asked persistently about what his hobbies were, what his favorite food was, what type of girl he liked. Even to Shannon, it was clear that Jessica was infatuated with Kennen. Come on, isn't this a good chance to take Kennen on a date? But Kennen might also have someone he likes, so wouldn't he take it badly if I made him go with me just to show off? People who are honest with themselves, like you are. What was that word I learned from George Sama? That's right, I think it was tsundara. Apparently they'll be all the rage in a decade or so. He's psychic. Too bad they got the wrong word. Wow, George Nissan sure is incredible, managing to foresee future trends like that. Awesome. No, wait, are you saying I'm living in the wrong decade? Well, I give up. As the steak sound just there. It took several days of wasted efforts, but in the end, Jessica agreed to the plan of having Kennen pretend to be her boyfriend. Like when the game jokes around. It's just as good when it's being funny as it is when it's serious. Sometimes it mixes the two together, but usually it's kind of like more of a slant as it goes forward. Yes, my lady. Did you call me? Jessica regretted calling out at such a bad time. Kennen always looked sullen, but he had had some bad days and some better days. Unfortunately, this reaction was the former. No, all that confidence and effort she'd built up practicing in front of a mirror all night was wiped out in about 5 seconds. Jessica turned bright red and hung her head. When he saw that, Kennen sighed. Jessica thought that he was exasperated with her, and her face went pale. I heard from Shannon. This is about having me go with you to the school cultural festival, right, my lady? Huh? Nice one, Shannon. I mean, yeah. That's right, but, did you have any plans that day? I was strictly ordered by Shannon to work specially for you on that day, my lady. I've never been to high school, so I don't really understand, but I hear it's a place where girls can be shamed if they don't have a boy with them. But I was given special orders to see to it that the daughter of the Ushimita family is in no way inferior to the common people. Well, Shannon, I'll beat you to death later. Jessica kept yelling with a strange voice and a broken smile, like a tea kettle filled with boiling water. As Kennen watched this, he sighed again. Kennen wasn't an idiot either. He fully understood what Jessica intended by inviting him. But to be honest, playing along with Jessica's love game seemed like it'd be nothing more than an annoyance to him. However, Shannon had asked him over and over. He was deeply indebted to her, so he couldn't refuse. And that brooch was in his pocket. Could the strange turn of events have been brought about by the magic power residing in this brooch? Ridiculous. But he remembered what Shannon had said to him that day. Could Shannon see something he couldn't? I don't understand Shannon's feelings. We are furniture. As if we could ever become anything more. It was a truly odd exchange between Jessica, who was still rambling on in his strange voice, and Kennen, who sighed deeply. Everyone in the story is dense in their own way. Jesse, someone's here. Didn't you hear? Sorry. Who is it? As my friends all gathered together, they were looking this way with hard to describe expressions, whispering to each other in small voices that weren't small anymore. My attempt to play dumb felt pretty transparent even to me. Did I really just say, sorry, who is it? Like I don't know who just showed up. It's useless, my mind's going blank. Here he is in his like Devil May Cry outfit. No way, that's Jesse's boyfriend. He's so cute. Wait, he's real? No way? Seriously. Jessica, you traitor, he's incredible. He's younger? I never heard he was younger. Where is Jesse's boyfriend? She really is into little kids. Oh. Hey, aren't you late? I didn't know where the entrance was. I must apologize for my tardiness. Right, that outfit looks really good on you. Shannon said normal clothes wouldn't do, so we went and bought this the other day. Does it look strange on me? Yes. That's not true. Shannon, when I get back, I'll promote you 2 levels. It feels like everyone here's a girl. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, isn't it? Come on, let's not hang around here. Let's go to the stage, okay? Because I'll be up pretty soon. Come on, come on, come on. Jessica seemed just as uncomfortable. Looked like being bathed in everyone's interested gazes was hard on her. When he saw Jessica's appearance, Gannon thought he might have made things difficult for her by coming. I get the feeling I'm getting in the way. Am I being a burden? I told you, no way. Please tell me at any time if I start getting in the way. No way, he calls himself Boku. There's no way you'd get in the way, Kanan-kun. Yeah, she calls her boyfriend Kun. What would you like me to do, my lady? No way, she makes him call her my lady? Like a butler? Oh my god. No, you can't call me my lady today. Is that so? As you wish, Jessica-sama. Yeah, she's trained him to call her Sama. Sorry, Kanan-kun. Could you close your eyes for just 3 seconds? Yeah, a kiss. It's a kiss. She's gonna kiss him. As you wish. Let's see, okay. Well, it sounds. By the time Kanan opened his eyes, a horrible tragedy had occurred in the room. Everyone had been driven into the walls, their arms and legs outstretched. Let's check in Discord real quick. Okay. Jessica had slipped her brass knuckles back into her pocket. Yes, she carries brass knuckles on her. It's a thing, it's canon. Before Kanan's eyes opened. Anyway, let's go over to the stage. Our turn's coming up soon, so take a seat and wait for a bit. Because we've got to get ready. Go straight to the end here and you'll see a temporary stage. You'll know where to go. Please wait there. She pushed Kanan's back as he seemed to be having trouble moving himself, and chased him out. Even though Kanan was confused by Jessica's attitude and her panicky state, which he'd never seen before, he followed her instructions and headed in the direction she'd indicated. That is not the sound high school doors make. After seeing him off with an awkward smile, Jessica slammed the door shut and yelled loudly. Here you go, you saw, right? You saw that. Are you happy now? Waha, sucks for you. I lost the bed. I was sure Jessie didn't have a boyfriend. You sure that was her boyfriend? I bet she's just abusing one of her servants, right? Jessie's boyfriend's incredible. Just shut up. Come on, let's get ready. When Jessica took the brass knuckles out of her pocket again, everyone energetically returned to their tasks. She's got the real thread on her. Coming up here is the Toho reference. I think it's different in the Steam version. I think they got rid of the song and changed it up for something else, but I'll show what it's like in the anime in a minute. After this scene's over. Ken went down the corridor Jessica had shown him, and ran into a temporary stage set up where the vending machine should have been. It was probably being rented by the hour by some group or club. The ones singing were student groups, but the crowd was still incredibly excited. Disliking that clutter, he leaned against a wall in the darkness by himself. Ooh. This was me as a teenager. So this is what they call high school. It sure is noisy. That's what Kenneth thought. Then he remembered Jessica just now, acting in a way that he'd never seen before. Honestly, she was in such high spirits that alcohol might have been involved. To him, remaining composed and intellectual at all times was the highest virtue. In that sense, it was very hard for Kenneth to get used to the atmosphere of a high school cultural festival. He had a responsibility to report everything he saw and heard to the master, though he also had to report about how Jessica had acted without restraint earlier. At the very least, it was not fitting for the daughter of the Yoshimura head family. The master, Kraus-sama, and especially Natsuyu-sama, will probably be angry. We're going to confiscate her knuckles. If I'm to report it in such a way that protects my lady, should I blame it on inappropriate school friends? What was all that? So stupid. Kenneth thought back on how Jessica had acted earlier and sighed again. He could understand Natsu's headache a little now. Come to think of it, Natsuyu-sama, as the president of the PTA, was supposed to go to an informal gathering after attending the ceremony in the gymnasium. Parent-Teacher Association. She said she wouldn't be able to see my lady's performance, didn't she? That's probably for the best. Crowds certainly are unpleasant. What in the world is going on? Several female students kept glancing at me. It seems they're all whispering the same things my lady's school friends said, and it's truly unpleasant. Come to think of it, didn't Shannon warn me? If you walk alone at something like a school festival, you better watch out, because lots of strange people will come and talk to you. Excuse me, are you by yourself? Just as expected, a group of girls I'd never met started talking to me. Their stares started to make my back tingle. Didn't she tell me some magic words that could chase them off in times like this? Sorry. I'm with someone. Oh, really? I'm sorry. Ah, it worked. Instant reaction. Well, that got rid of them, but it hasn't really changed the number of people staring at me. No, it's that kid. That's Jesse's boyfriend. No, wait, it's that kid? I can't believe it. I was sure he was fake. Isn't he cute? So he's younger? Lucky Jesse. There's no way I'll ever come to a place like this again. Came inside for about the zillionth time that day. When he did, the lighting changed and the standing audience started cheering. He looked around and realized that there was suddenly a large group of people there. And unlike earlier, they were mostly guys. With this huge crowd, he couldn't even see the stage. Fortunately, there was a fallen beer case nearby. You sure about that? At a high school festival? Are you certain? Are you certain? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. What's going on here? So he tried using that as a footstool. When he did, he realized that there was now a new group on the stage. Their leader is my lady. She's changed into stage clothes, and she's even holding a guitar. I didn't know she could play. Then again, maybe she can play. I've seen her practicing air guitar before. Natsuyu-sama wouldn't approve of any hobbies outside of study. Maybe she was always practicing in secret. Come to think of it, she's been returning really late from school recently, hasn't she? Maybe she's been practicing at school, far away from Natsuyu-sama's prying eyes. Does she really have much of a choice for when to return home if she has to ride a boat every day? Does the boat... Well, I mean, surely the boat only goes back and forth once in the morning and once in the afternoon. I don't know how you... Okay. It really is for the best that Natsuyu-sama didn't come. If my lady were to get scolded by Natsuyu-sama after putting so many hours of practice in, she'd probably be dejected. Jessie-sama. Everyone, thanks for gathering here today. I could hear Jessica-sama's forceful voice through the speakers. Jessie-sama? Maybe that's her nickname at school. The students in the audience kept calling out that name. I'm a little offended by that crude name. It's inappropriate for my lady. Jessica-sama was in high spirits as they kept shouting Jessie-sama. Everyone here was probably a fan. Her mic performance, picked up on that. Isn't that not how you spell mic? Like microphone, isn't it usually C? Electrified them even more. It was almost like a music program on TV. At first he thought this was all silly, but that feeling had changed into appreciation. It was incredible in its own way. Ken had never listened to music of his own free will, but he'd often heard the kind of music the Ushima and her family liked. Since it was almost all classical, Ken had naturally taken a liking to that kind of music. Is that always how it works? I mean, like, if you work in a convenience store, you're probably gonna hate, like, the stuff that comes on there, eventually. Like, I've never heard someone say, oh, you know, I love the Christmas music that comes on every year in the convenience store, because I get to hear it all the time. This kid's lucky. So to canon, the song Jessica sang was, how should you say it? Extremely colorful. In any case, if Natsuyu-sama heard it, she'd probably faint. Oh. Oh, it is still like this. Oh my god. Oh, it even has credits. Oh my god, I thought it was changed. Well. Enjoy this while I go get some water. It's gonna be copyright claim, but that's fine, I don't care. It's not the first time. Well, but everyone looked like they were having a really good time. Some diehard fans, who'd even brought pen lights, sang along and danced crazily with the same movements, almost as though it'd been planned ahead. You know, I can't imagine, like... I mean, for one thing, singing this at a high school cultural festival. Literally a song about Toho characters having flat chests. And the crowd reacting positively. Both of those things seem like incredibly unrealistic. It's just a gag, basically. I'm thinking too much into it. Gotta like mod the game and put like Smash Mouth music or something in here. On the stage, Jessica Sama also sang enthusiastically, dripping with sweat. It's the game playing the song, yeah, it's real. It's an actual Toho reference. It was like this originally as well. The dev is just a Toho fan. That wasn't me playing that. I'm not playing music today. It was the game. He couldn't find a single element that was appropriate for a daughter of the Ushimita family, but it looked like so much fun. Jessie-sama... You know what I'm thinking of? I think on the console versions it got swapped out for something else, maybe. Check something, by the way. I'll show you what it looks like in the anime real quick as well. If I can find a picture. No, I don't want, like... No, I don't want a video. Just give me... Yes, perfect. Just give me a screenshot. So you can see in the anime, you get this. The song is different. I don't remember what it is. I don't think it's still Tsurupetan. But you get 3 Toho characters instead. Wow. Wow, Umineko anime. Why do you get 3 Toho characters? Jessie-sama, Jessie. Again, today, behind me, the sound of footsteps. Oishiro-sama is stalking me, curses, disappearance, sacrifices, torture. Onikakoshi, does that make a good snack? Don't say Marissa. I don't know what's going on here, but most of this is Higurashi. Okay. The dev is memeing around again. I must not go along with it, but at any rate, my lady is full of life and looks like she's having a great time. As I watched my lady enjoying herself, I thought, could this be Ushimita Jessica's true nature? Don't I know better than anyone that during her life on Rokenjima, she's had no choice but to kill her sense of self? So the time she spends, as my lady, successor to the Ushimita family, as a single girl called Jessica, living life to the fullest, must be very important to her. I worked her close to my lady, seeing her in all seasons, and thought I knew everything about her. I say, by the way, this character's in the background. This outfit looks like pink and black stuff on this girl looks like it's something like a Nickelodeon show, like this is like Victorious or iCarly or something. This looks so out of place. But I guess maybe it's like some Japanese band playing. I worked close to my lady, seeing her in all seasons, and thought I knew everything about her. I was all limited to one side of her, my lady of Rokenjima. We are furniture. We serve on Rokenjima and end our lives on Rokenjima. So I've come to think of Rokenjima itself as our whole world. Yep, it is indeed Tsurupetan by Silver Forest. I listened to that stuff a lot back when I was like getting into the Toho fandom. It's not really my kind of music, so I kind of quickly got rid of it once I found, hey, there's Toho ranges in every genre. I can find stuff I'm more interested in. But I was there for that time. So I've come to think of Rokenjima itself as a whole world. As though, like in the gibberish theory, the ocean spilled off the end of the world into an abyss. Thanks, canon. Thanks. But when I look at my lady like this, I can see how horribly narrow that outlook is. Okay. I still can't go along with the excitement of the crowd. Could have just said flat earth theory. But I feel like I can see something that cannot be seen on Rokenjima. I'm not sure if this is the unseeable thing Shannon was talking about, but the ocean still doesn't look blue to me. He's not quite there yet. It's gonna take some time. I'm just reading up the DM I got from a dev on an interesting topic. Wasn't the cultural festival at Jessica's school today? How was the principal doing? He seemed to be in good health. That's right, Diet member Takumi was also there. He said to give you his regards. Busy as usual? It appeared so. That person is also very energetic. Oh, and I believe President Imaro also made an appearance. Naturally, the topic of Jessica's cultural festival came up at dinner. School events often became social gatherings for local volunteers. It was the same for the Ushimura family, who were celebrities around here. Nancy remembered the name of one VIP after another, at that social gathering, telling Kraus the news about them. Jessica didn't really have any interest in that discussion and rudely slurped her pumpkin soup. My lady, perhaps you ought to take more care with your manners. Yeah, sorry about that. Jessica, how many times must I tell you to watch your language? Yes, ma'am. Jessica answered, discouraged. When he saw that, Kraus smiled a little and paused his conversation with Nazi. How was the festival for you, Jessica? Huh? Well, it was okay. I was watching. You did an excellent job. Huh? Well... Jessica's face turned bright red. She probably hadn't imagined Nazi had actually come to see her on the stage. She felt a mix of happiness and embarrassment. Actually, she hadn't really wanted her mother to watch, since she didn't want to be told that her music was inappropriate for the Umineko family. But it certainly didn't make her unhappy to hear her parents say she'd done a good job after watching her try her best. Jessica acted with both composure and dignity, fitting behavior for the student's representative. Oh, yeah. The smile that had been there until a second ago crumbled like sand. Jessica immediately realized that her mom was talking about something different. Jessica was also the school's student president. She had no interest in doing something so annoying, but her parents had been pushy, so she begrudgingly accepted. Unfortunately, she was popular at school, so she won the election easily. So, Nazi was praising her for the student council sponsorship ceremony at the beginning of the cultural festival. That hurts. Actually, she had just carried that out half-heartedly. After that, she'd immediately met up with her friends and held a stage rehearsal for the rest of the time. That experience of standing above people and bearing responsibility will surely prove useful in the future. I'm sure it will help Jessica mature as a member of the Umineko family. But you rushed a little while giving the greeting. You to pass on content, the fast pace of your speech lessened the impact. It might help you if you develop the habit of pausing every once in a while. I'm trying to do that. Yeah, I'm trying to breathe while we read. It's hard. Reading hard. After she finished eating, Jessica didn't feel like going straight to her room. Her room was basically a place her parents had ordered her to be. So perhaps for Jessica, instead of returning to her own room, being in an unknown location in this large mansion was a meager form of resistance. Jessica felt that even being in the mansion made it hard to breathe, so she went outside to the rose garden. Well, even if she did show up, I'm sure she would have said something about how it wasn't appropriate for a successor of the Umineko family. So isn't it better this way? Jessica laughed at what she was sulking over. She laughed at what kind of words she could possibly have been expecting. That was dumb of me. In the end, I was just acting like an entitled brat. I'm a little exasperated with myself, and it makes me want to laugh. My lady. What, Kennen-kun? Don't scare me like that. Oh no. Just as she was about to force a laugh, Kenneth suddenly started talking to her and she choked. What's up? Got something to say? Oh, it's not the asthma, she just choked randomly. Okay, she's fine. Yes? Jessica's expression became the one she always wore when looking at Kennen. The listless Jessica from a second ago was gone. If he had still only known Jessica as the eventual successor to the Umineko family, as he had until yesterday, he might have mistakenly thought that Jessica's mood had sprung back to normal. But that wasn't right. He now knew a part of her that he couldn't have seen until yesterday, so he understood that there was no way Jessica actually felt the way she appeared. Oh, about today's cultural festival. Oh, thanks for coming with me so I could show off. You saved my butt out there. That song. You were really good. What? Huh? Really? You're embarrassing me. Even though she'd heard the words she most wanted to hear, Jessica acted shyly and couldn't accept them openly. I cannot sing, but I like Toho music. And I don't know how to play any instruments other than the harmonica and the recorder, which I learned in elementary school. So I simply assumed you were the same, my lady. I think Suika's a pretty cool character. Kennen is a Toho fan. At the time, Kennen had never felt as though he'd been looking down on Jessica in this way, but all the people he'd seen playing special instruments were on the other side of the brown tubes in the TV. Was that Braun? Brown? I'll go with Brown. At the very least, he'd been under the impression that it had been impossible for Jessica. I'm furniture, so I didn't believe there was any need to sing or play instruments, but I'm not sure anymore. Seriously, Kennen-kun, enough with that. I'm furniture business. That's like a proper attitude use servants are supposed to have, right? Servants are supposed to be like living furniture. Genji-san says that a lot. It isn't just a proper attitude, because we really are furniture. I know the kids from the Fukuin house receive assistance from grandfather in various ways, and I realize how grateful you are for that. but it's a bit cruel for you to have to call yourself furniture just because of that. We're all human, aren't we? You're asking the wrong person that. Ken, when you saw me singing, what did you think? It looked like you were having a lot of fun. I don't think that's true. Huh? You didn't just think it looked fun. You were envious, weren't you? That's not... Ken probably hadn't noticed that emotion himself. He was just now realizing how much he liked Toho music. Most likely, Kenneth saw something he'd never seen before, learned about it for the first time, and felt envious. He had to trick himself out of the emotion. He'd called himself furniture over and over. I know I'm a successor to the Ushimina family or whatever, and well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of annoying stuff to do from now on. As far as that goes, I can't do anything but give up since I was born under an unlucky star. Lucky star reference? Eating good today. Probably just like you had to live at the Fukuin house, I don't have a choice either. I couldn't choose the stars under which I was born. That may be true. But there's one place where you and I are completely different. And what that is? I'm furniture, and my lady is not. He was about to say that, but stopped. I do not know. Ken-kun, you decided that your fate determines everything about you, and you give up. But I can't accept this kind of fate, so I do the best I can. So, well, there's still the rigid and cornered me that's gotta stay as the daughter of the Ushimina family. I've created another me that can do what I like to the fullest. Another you. Yeah, Ken-kun, you've been instructed to say because I'm furniture. I'm sure you've gone through a lot of tough times just because of that. I think that's really unfortunate. But the idea that your entire life will be decided by that alone just seems sad to me. You know, it's always possible for people to create another self inside them, self that they can truly grow to like. I'm not talking about escaping from reality, okay? When I'm that other self, I can really feel like I'm living a great life. So no matter how constrained and boring everyday life gets to be, I can always live on without suffocating. To make another self inside yourself that you can truly grow to like. To make another me, one that isn't furniture. Through her relationship with George-sama, has Shannon given birth to another self that isn't furniture? And did this other Shannon see something that cannot be seen by furniture? That's right. Well, I don't know anything about your private life, Kanon-kun, but I can sort of guess. Your private life probably doesn't exist at all. Am I right? Ooh, that's harsh. You're probably a virgin, aren't you? Kanon couldn't reply, but that was answer enough. He had no concept of a private life. So, Canon would always be Canon. So, furniture would always be furniture. Canon isn't your real name, right? In the Fukuin house, new graduates would be given new families and a new life, though they were also given a new name. In his case, that was Kanon. Certainly, this name of mine may be a temporary thing. Before, he had thought of himself as Kanon and no one else. But he remembered, there definitely had been another self that wasn't Kanon. That was far, far away, beyond the distant fog of oblivion. So even for you, it should be okay to have times when you're Kanon-kun, times when you aren't. Maybe when you act as a servant, that Kanon-kun calls himself furniture and strictly omits his own will. But when you aren't Kanon-kun, I think it's okay to live much, much more freely. Those words definitely weren't just lip service. Jessica had also been like this in the past. She had cursed her own birth into an environment different from all her friends at school. Only she'd been in a heavily constricted environment, forced to learn all sorts of things, and when she didn't even been told whom she was and wasn't allowed to play with. It may have been sad, but she'd given up, resigning herself to the fact that she'd been born under that kind of star. But one day, Jessica stopped giving up and surrendering. Stuff like Ushimina family customs and pressure didn't matter. She created a real Jessica inside herself, one who could do what she really wanted to do. You know, I'd go by the nickname Jessie at school. When I'm Jessie, I live life honestly and to the fullest. And because of that, I can do my best when I'm Jessica too. Would it really be so bad if you could also have times when you're Canon and times when you're your real name? When you aren't Canon, can't you try becoming another self that you can like? A time when I am not Canon. He'd once thought of his real name as being completely meaningless. Because of that, he thought that Canon summed up everything about him. And now Jessica was telling him to create something new, another self that wasn't Canon. Canon couldn't, if you don't mind, tell me, what's your real name? He was silent for quite some time. Maybe Kanon's real name had risen to the tip of his tongue. After hesitating for a long time over whether he should say it, in the end, he swallowed it back down. I forgot. My name doesn't matter anymore. Those words contained a faint rejection. No matter what kind of real name I had, the only truth now is that here, I'm Kanon. The past has nothing to do with anything. The materials with which furniture is made, be it a trunk or a tree or otherwise, are meaningless in the end. I told you to stop that. You aren't furniture. You're human, right? I'm not human. Ken clearly voiced his refusal. It was with a rage that he normally didn't show. Jessica couldn't say anything back and was struck silent. You are human, my lady, so you are free to live any way you please, and any kind of future is possible for you. It's almost like you have wings and can dance through the sky like a bird. But I am not like that. Even if I looked like a bird, I'd be nothing more than a domestic duck. Even though they have wings, they cannot fly. To speak to me of that dream in the sky despite that, it's just too cruel. Furniture and ducks. What the hell is all this? No. Jessica had unconsciously gone along with Conan's forceful manner of speaking, but she realized that she shouldn't fire back and swallowed her words. I don't know anything about you. I don't even know your upbringing. I don't know the hardships you've been through. So I can't even imagine why you started calling yourself furniture. But know this, you aren't furniture or a duck. You're a real human. Things we know about Kanan. Not furniture. Not duck. We don't know his real name. If you want to say Kanan Kun's furniture when he's working as a servant, that's fine. But in that case, don't you think you can create a self for when you aren't furniture? For when you're human? Only a human like my lady can embrace that possibility. I'm not like that. I have no future, no possibilities, no dream that I'm allowed to see. So, my lady, please don't say any more cruel things. Someone's gotta go on like the Umineko Weekend and change his species to duck. I don't think there's a species listing on there, probably, but maybe there is. Why do you say stuff like that? Because it seems you mistakenly think I'm a human, the same as you, my lady. We are different sorts of beings. I just wanted to make that clear. I heard from Shannon. Something about my lady liking me. Huh? What? No. I look almost identical to a human. So, like Shannon, I could probably delude myself into thinking I'm human, and pretend alive for a time. But then, I would surely be fooling myself. No, I'd be fooling you too, my lady. Shannon and George will definitely fall apart. Even though Shannon herself probably realizes that day will come, she's taking part in such a stupid... There's nothing stupid about it. Sure, George Nissan's a wonderful person, and he's got to match up to his parents' expectations. I'm sure when it comes to marriage, Ante will interfere in various ways. And, I think their future prospects look like they'll be full of trouble, okay? But you know what? George Nissan isn't the kind of guy who will surrender to that shit. Shannon's no Juliet, and he'll definitely bring her happiness. People cannot engage in romance with furniture. What I'm trying to say is that even if you can love furniture, I cannot love you, my lady. Those words of Cannon's crushed all of Jessica's bittersweet feelings from that day. There was no way her emotions could have predicted that she'd be refused so bluntly. In an instant, she lost the willpower that had led her to try and unravel something stubborn in Cannon's heart. And before she knew it, she was just standing there in shock. My lady, if your feelings for me were due to my conceit, then I must ask that you forgive me. But no. Well, I won't deny that. Thank you very much. Huh? Thank you very much for thinking of me as a human. Those feelings alone really do make me happy. Anything more would be too cruel for me, so... No, I've said enough. Sorry about that. Jessica recklessly scratched her head and spoke, trying to force her voice to sound bright. I just kind of ran on ahead by myself and was a burden on you. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble on your precious day off. No, I was also happy that I could see you having fun. Then, let's call it a night. If I don't go back to my room and turn off the lights, Mom will get mad at me again. That's probably for the best. I wish you a good night, my lady. Yeah, good night. Ouch. Oh, hey, Yig. Evening, thanks for the raid. You came in just when a girl started crying. Then I saw Jessica trot away with her back to him, looking disheartened. But then she suddenly broke into a reckless dash and disappeared in the direction of the mansion. As he watched her back, for just an instant, Kenan was tormented by the feeling that he just made a huge mistake. But he hadn't made a mistake at all. He'd been forced to refuse her now for her sake, while the pain was still at its smallest. Nice going, making a woman cry like that. I didn't expect you to refuse her that strongly. If you'd given a normal answer, another pair of lovers would have been born thanks to my magic. How long have you been there? She was just a little bit too late to ruin the mood. How long have you been there? What a horrible person. When he turned around, the witch was suddenly there. It looked like she'd been there the whole time, watching the two of them as though enjoying a play. I shall forgive you for your insults just this once, in deference to that amusing little show. Even after 1,000 years, no more interesting show exists than complications between boys and girls. So, welcome. Sass, gravy, yig, everyone. To me, it's a pleasure that's better and more addictive than opium. Kenan pulled the butterfly brooch out of his pocket. It was the manifestation of the great magic the witch had bestowed. Without hesitation, Kenan slammed it against the ground and stomped on it. Oh, what is the meaning of this? You know that was given by me. Just now I figured it out. What you're doing isn't as tasteful as being a cupid of love. You're just a demon who enjoys showing love to those who can never be together, deceiving them. You are free to think that. Most humans I lend my power to say the same thing. Don't play dumb. You didn't lend Shannon your power because you felt sorry for her. You had a weak point in Shannon's heart as her chest burned with love, and you made her break the mirror that seals you. What's more, you guessed how this would all end, and now you're toying with her. Am I wrong? Furniture has a thoroughly pitiful existence. So you have no dreams, no future, and even no love? Good, good. There's nothing better than knowing your place. As you noticed, there was a faint love residing in Jessica's heart. You seem to think you've snipped it in the bud. Isn't that nipped in the bud? Who says snipped in the bud? But did you know? Trees grow thicker branches if you thin out and prune them. A girl who loves furniture, is it? Amusing, how truly amusing. Shannon and George will also eventually reach a stalemate with their unfulfillable love, ripening to the sort of large fruit I love. Regretfully, it seems to be going so smoothly for those two that it's hardly entertaining anymore. But on the plus side, it seems the two of you will amuse me to no end. The witch laughed. Even though she had known the two could never be together, she lent them magic to bring them together. However, they could escape the fate that prevented them from ever being truly joined. The witch knew that. Even if they were joined, Shannon and George, Kenan and Jessica would eventually break up. They would wander through an endless desert in this hell of love, tormented by an eternal thirst. Wow, Maze of Love. Tahoe reference again? What, did you think I'd lend you my power and ask for nothing in exchange? I'll gladly assist a pair in love. In exchange, I'll enjoy watching the cruel fate they'll eventually meet. I've never come across a better show, not over the course of 1,000 years. Just look at Kinzo. See how he ended up, an old, pitiful man who won the taste of love before being thrown out of paradise. Look at how he lives, like a dead man that cannot fully die. You truly are a witch. Disappear. Get out of my sight, demon. Oh, I will disappear even without your prompting. My power still hasn't returned. It is still tiring to continue showing myself. I already did it when I gave you lovers my power. As I am now, it will not be easy to maintain that power without that brooch as a catalyst. Kenan ground his foot even more into the stomped brooch. He felt it break under his foot. Then it evaporated like water, and changed into butterflies that sparkled gold, fluttering out from beneath Kenan's foot. Maintaining this form is quite painful for me as well. I will hide myself for a time, just as you desire. My magical power will rise as surely as the moon in the tides, and eventually, a fitting time will come for my revival. I know not in the slightest whether that will be tomorrow, next year, or even 100 or 1,000 years in the future. But as long as there are those who entertain me, I will surely gain power and revive. I will disappear for a short while, until that time comes. The bruise on the palm of your hand is already gone, so if you wish, tomorrow morning, you can let my existence vanish like an illusion or a dream. After all, nothing saddens me more than being forgotten. However, I will surely be revived. Be on your guard so that you will not regret that day is coming when it arrives. I will surely have my second coming and rule over everything as this island's true master. That is the time when the door to the Golden Land will be opened again. The greedy dead will surely wake me. You talk too much. Disappear now, Golden Witch. And he's not wrong. She's a little bit talkative. Not as bad as Kinzo, though. But she gets a lot more screen time, thank God. The witch became a cloud of gold butterflies and scattered away, leaving behind a scornful laugh. The whole area sparkled like a gold blizzard in a snow globe. It was a fleeting, fantastical scene that disappeared in a heartbeat. The witch could no longer be seen. However, Kenan felt like he could still hear that shrill and pleasant laugh. Play the laugh sound effect. Ah. Ah, how amusing, how truly amusing. Why is the human world still so amusing after all the years I've been away? Go mad with love. Go mad with gold. Those who don't go mad from one of the two are not human. I see, so that's why the word furniture is so fitting. Furniture is created to serve humans, and I cruelly treat humans as playthings to save my 1,000 years of boredom. What a truly amusing three-way deadlock that I cannot control furniture. Ginzo, you fool. What a truly entertaining scheme you've worked out. Furniture, you fools. Just you try and see if you can fail me. Welcome back, Yuzu. You missed Jessica crying. Tonight, 2 seeds of love have been sown, including the one already sown. That makes 3. 3 seeds, yeah. Well, him. Beatrice, why did you leave me alone in this painful world? I hate you. I will hate you for all eternity for not even trying to answer, despite being yearned for so. Master, drinking anymore will be damaging to your health. Dr. Najo warned you as well, did he not? Be silent, Genji. You do not understand. You do not understand my grief and sadness. And I believed at least you, my oldest friend, would understand my pain. Why can you not understand? Oh, Beatrice, why did you leave me all alone? Poor Genji just has nothing to say to that. Ah. What the hell do you mean, furniture? I don't get it. Ah. Oh, poor Jessica-sama. Misawa just kind of acts like Krillin sometimes. She just shows up at the edge of the screen and watches people. Even though the cries I hear coming from your room tell me of the situation, there is nothing I can do. This is all a tragedy due to a pair who are too young getting too close, when the positions of their birth are too distant. I can do nothing but understand my lady's feelings, hide my footsteps, and quietly walk away, for I cannot go Super Saiyan like the rest of them. My power level is just too low. All I have is Destructo Disc. And that hasn't been good in 15 years. Oh. I mean, George and Shannon are still doing pretty well. They didn't get to show up in that scene. Good for them. No disasters there yet. Right, give me just 2 minutes to get water, use the bathroom, and I will continue when I'm refreshed. Hold on, I lost track of things. And oh yes, here we go. Be right back. My daily exercise. Thank you for keeping me fit. Stuff with that. Oops. Before here. I'm gonna vacuum my room sometime. God. And it's funny, the parents say like, oh, don't sit in front of the computer all day. You'll never get any exercise. Hey, I'm not doing push-ups unless I stream. So, hey, apparently this is good for me. How can I swole? More like, how can I old? Are you able to see, like, my gray hairs? Here. I'm 31 and I'm graying pretty bad already. Maybe it doesn't show up well on shitty webcam quality. A lot of it's actually just inherited though. My mom's got like kind of salt and pepper hair. I'm just getting it early. I actually like it. I think it's stylish. Yeah, now you see 100 push-ups. I have a limit on the push-ups for a good reason. Zelda once redeemed 25 at once, and that was enough to really remind me that I'm like pretty much the most out of shape I've ever been. Because that wore out my arms for days. I could not have done a 26th push-up for the life of me. 25 was like my absolute limit. 100 push-ups? Yeah, you want to see me faint on stream? You want to see me get banned from Twitch for injuring myself? Essentially. Should do squats. Yeah, my legs... squats are really hard for me. A few years ago when my ex-wife and I were exercising, like, heavily for a few weeks, like, she was getting us into one of those routines trying to get us fit. We did leg day. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'll do, like, all these sets. I'll, like, do all these reps. I won't, like, cut down and go, like, easy numbers. Like, I'll do 15 instead of 10, like it says to. You know, I'll put everything I have into it. And, later that night, I couldn't walk. My legs did not work. Seriously. I, like, tried to get up, like, out of the bed. And I had to, like, essentially, like, get myself up with my arms. And I tried to walk, like, out of the bedroom. I fell onto my knees. And I had to legitimately, like, zombie crawl myself into the kitchen, or, like, to the bathroom, or, like, wherever I was going, and crawl back. I could not walk that night. It was bad. It wasn't like my legs were sore. They got sore, like, the day or two after. They just didn't work. They had nothing left. My muscles were gone. I lost my muscles, essentially. It was nasty. Picasso walk. Not too different. But, like, no, I wasn't even, like, walking on my knees. At that point, I was just dragging myself along with, like, the lower half of my body on the floor. I was just like a shambling zombie. No, shambling would be different. I recovered eventually, but I don't think it was through Pokemon vitamins. I would like to raise my attack, but I'd rather raise my HP, honestly. I don't think Amazon sells, like, HP ups, though. What do you mean by that, George-san? I mean what I said. I still haven't built up my castle. Once I manage to do that, I'll finally be able to think of myself as an adult. When that happens, I want to marry you. That's, but my heart won't let me do that anymore. So I want to give you an engagement ring. Engagement, you say? But, I am furniture. Oh, right, that. Well then, furniture has to listen to what people say, right? Right now, I'm having a ring made that'll be fitting for you. I think it'll be ready in time for me to bring you to the upcoming family conference. Oh, George. No, not the conference. Does it look like Hawkeye green? And see, I put my glasses on before. I don't have his glasses. I'm gonna show you. I don't have George glasses. They're not, like, the best glasses. They're basically what people used to call, like, hipster glasses. But I just got them because, I don't know, I thought they looked fine. They were comfortable. I got, like, the kind of somewhat thick-framed black ones here. But I don't need them for, like, close stuff. But God knows, like, I need them for far stuff nowadays. When I was doing my taxes earlier today, I was, like, looking at, like, you know, papers on the wall. They got, like, yeah, like ads for loans and all sorts of, like, small stuff on the wall. And I couldn't read a bit of it. Like, let's see, like, how bad my vision is. Like, I can read this. That's fine. I can still read it from here, I guess. It's really big text, though, you know? At this point, I kind of have to squint. I guess, honestly, like, I can't really show off how bad my vision is because this is really big text. But, like, it's not what it used to be. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. But I have, you know, ever since childhood, been sitting in front of screens. Whether that be a TV, or, like, a Nintendo DS or Game Boy, or computer screens. You know, so... It's probably true what they say, like, don't sit too close, it can hurt your eyes. Or maybe it's just inherited from my parents, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll give it to you then, so please, I want you to let me hear your answer. There were so many, like, death flags in Umineko Part 1, by the way. Like, I didn't bring them up because I didn't want to spoil, like, who was gonna die, but, like, all the stuff like, oh, I'm gonna give you this ring. Let me know, you know, your feelings tomorrow. And of course, there was obviously the whole Rudolph saying, I think I'm gonna be killed tonight. I mean, that's not even a death flag, that's just him saying it at that point. If you accept, then I'll proclaim our engagement right there, in front of all the relatives, including grandfather. Actually, death flags, that reminds me. There's a scene in Umineko visual novel that got totally cut from the anime. That I think comes up in episode 3, and it's some of the funniest stuff. I really can't say on anything on it without, like, totally giving away what it is and why it's funny, but just look forward to it. I look forward to reading it again. I've only read through the first Umineko VN, so I've only read through Umineko period once. So I haven't seen it in a long time since I initially saw it. So I look forward to revisiting it. Georgie-san. I'm sure some people want to approve of our relationship, but there's no need to look at their faces, because you only have to fill your eyes with me. I will definitely bring you happiness. That's the one thing I can promise you with certainty. What a charmer. I just can't wait to see how it will ripen. I don't remember this song. Okay, I have no memory of that. I just can't wait to see how it will ripen. The gold butterflies do not swoop upon the juice of overripe and rotting fruit. I'd have played in a band. I cannot wait for the day of harvest to come. Is the time of the banquet here yet? I think maybe we're finally zooming forward to the family conference. Hi, Captain. Hey, buddy. Hey, don't get into trouble with her. He's an unneutered male cat and tends to sometimes bother the females. I've got a friend who might be taking him soon. So finally, the first day. I'll read a little bit more, probably until we reach the mansion. Then I'm gonna switch over to Labyrinth, I think. Because I'd rather, like, dedicate a good amount of time to, like, starting the conference. They'd eaten breakfast at a coffee shop in the station building. By chance, the inside of the shop had been decorated with Halloween colors since it was October. Arya had seemed to be awfully pleased with that. For quite some time, she talked loudly inside the train about wanting to have a Halloween festival, without caring that she was attracting the attention of others. Halloween is popular in Europe and America, but people aren't that familiar with it in Japan. The shopping district was colorfully decorated. Colorfully decorated with orange pumpkins. But the costume parades of children vending sweets and saying trick-or-treat were nowhere in sight. You got junk near your eye, honey. Keep your face clean. Yeah, eye boogies. Ooh. I want a Halloween festival. I don't want to wear these clothes. I want to look like a witch. Ooh. The family conference is playing. You're going to meet grandfather, so you have to dress up nice. Well, it wasn't completely full inside the train, It was really packed, with almost all the seats occupied by passengers. Maria was making a fuss among them, stomping her feet on the seat while Rosa scowled at her. Rosa had warned her many times to lower her voice, but Maria hadn't obeyed her at all. Once Maria got like this, no matter how you tried to explain the situation or calm her, she wouldn't listen. Before, Rosa used to pamper Maria and give in to her at times like this. But that had probably been a mistake. Surely Maria had gained the mistaken impression that throwing a tantrum long enough would make her mother give up and do what Maria said. Rosa had realized that error with the help of an educational book, and since then, she'd hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. Look at her. If you saw the like graphics glitch out for a second, like I did in the OBS preview, that's because these guys static shock my desk and like my PC when I pet them too much, especially the fluffy ones. I still don't know for sure if that's what sometimes causes the weird issues with a mic. I'm gonna just plug it back in just to make sure it's okay. Now that like the static shocks are a lot worse during the winter, so it's gonna be better during the warmer months. Hey. Oh, she gets into it. She gets so into it. Uber. Her mutual understanding with Maria began to grow weaker and weaker, and she began to get discouraged by her own powerlessness more and more often. Halloween, Halloween! If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. Ooh. Oh, you're biting me. What are you doing? No bites. You're vicious. I don't have any sweets to give you. We just ate breakfast. If you don't give me any sweets, I'll play a prank. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. Ooh. A stout old woman who was sitting nearby as Maria stomped her feet, picked a candy out of her handbag and held it out to Maria. Ooh, I got a sweet. I got a sweet. Look, Mama. Mama. Happy Halloween. Hey, Mario, you can't just accept sweets from strangers, right? Give it back. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, she's such a spirited young lady. How old is she? Maybe there was no malice in the old woman's words. However, Rosa seemed to find that remark extremely humiliating. Maria, haven't I always told you not to accept sweets from strangers? Ooh. She gave it to me. Ooh, ow, hey, that hurts. Hey, Goblin, what is your deal? No more belly rubs for you. There's my finger, that hurt, cat. You need bite marks. Didn't draw blood, but you need bite marks. No, it's mine. Let go of it. How many times do I have to tell you to do what Mama says? It's mine. Mine. Ooh. Poor child. Don't I always tell you not to say ooh. Ooh. Rosa reflexively hit Maria violently on her cheek. In a flash, Maria started crying loudly. Rosa immediately took the candy from Maria's hand and pushed it back towards the dumbfounded old woman sitting next to them. Oh my god, that face. Ooh. I do not like that. I forgot she made that face. That's probably the most angry I've seen a character. Please do not just give sweets to my daughter. I'm so sorry. Breathing heavily, Rosa once again held the candy out to the old woman. After getting flustered about what she should say for a few moments, perhaps the old woman realized that her actions may have troubled this parent and child, and she accepted the candy back, apologizing. It is not her fault. It's literally the mother's fault. Rosa is kind of a terrible person a lot of the time. After that, Rosa finally took notice of her surroundings. Her daughter's clothes were all messed up, she was crying and shouting with her nose dripping, and there were many dumbfounded passengers watching them. Except for the sound of the train running, the interior was completely silent. Fortunately, that pitiful silence didn't last more than a short while. However, it was followed by an even more painful atmosphere as everyone began to whisper. Maria shouted, cried, kicked, and stomped her feet as usual, paying no heed to the people sitting around her. Impulsively, Rosa tried to slap her again, but she noticed the cold eyes of the people in the train, and couldn't. Good. Feel like shit about abusing your daughter and slapping her on the cheek in public. You should. When the train stopped, Rose forcibly pulled Maria's arm and got off, almost dragging her daughter along. Look, I was an absolute brat as a child. And my parents would often have to drag me out of stores kicking and screaming. But they wouldn't slap me in public. Maria didn't stop crying. Rosa took her to the end of the platform and hit her cheek again. At the moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying for an instant, but before long she shouted and cried even more than before. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rosa grabbed the nape of Maria's neck and dragged her, tugging at her hair. Ooh, 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 Mama, it hurts, Mama, it hurts. Ooh. Didn't I tell you to shut up? That ooh of yours, I told you to stop. That's the reason you can't make friends in class, right? Get a hold of yourself. Why are you still a kindergartner inside your head? Why can't you do what Mama says? Why? Why? With those severe words, Rosa hit Maria's cheek over and over again. The more Maria cried and shouted, the more Rosa hit her. And the more Maria was hit, the more intensely she cried and shouted. Mama, it hurts. Mama, it hurts. Mama, save me. Mama, save me. Ooh. Why can't you stop saying ooh? This is exactly why you can't make friends. This is why Papa's business trip never ends. This is why I... excuse me, ma'am, is everything alright? Do you want something? When we timidly called her was the station attendant. Rosa glared at the attendant with a look that said, don't put into the problems with mother and child, stranger. Of course, the attendant surely hadn't wanted to get involved either. However, Rosa had been yelling on the platform for a much longer time than she'd imagined. Her emotional scolding had led the passengers on the platform to advise the attendant to call out to her. Rosa yelled at the attendant, saying not to worry anymore, since they'd be getting on the next train. And then, finally, or rather for the second time, she noticed the passengers on the platform, staring at her from a distance. Rosa sweat slightly and felt a breeze make her sweat go cold, tormenting her. Maria still kept on crying, shielding her own head. Poor child has to, protect herself. I don't know which is harder to read, the kind of overly cringy romance sections that are supposed to be as sickly sweet as possible, or the blatant child abuse. Probably this. Of course, if this beating continued, she'd probably keep crying indefinitely. Gee, really? I did it again. As the terrible heat in Rosa's head faded, she knew she'd surrendered her soul to evil again. Mama, 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 come back. Ooh, ooh. Rosa fell to her knees and hugged Maria, whose face was all soggy with tears and mucus. Maria, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Mama, Mama, I'll come back. I'll come back. Finally, Maria realized that her mother was her mother again. She clung to her mother's body and cried, burying her face in her mother's chest. Forgive your bad Mama. Forgive your bad Mama. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate your Mama. Ooh, I'm just fine. Don't hate Mama. Mama was only being possessed by the bad witch again. But you came back, so I'm just fine. Yeah, that's right. Mama was just being possessed by the bad witch again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She was literally abused her child to the point where her child can't even accept that this is her own mother doing it anymore. There's so many characters in this story to feel sorry for. For a long time, the two of them hugged each other, asking for and sharing words of forgiveness. After a while, they calmed down and both moved back at the same time. Maria's face and Rosa's face were both deep red after crying their eyes out. Do you want to have a Halloween festival, Mario? Yeah. I wanted to show those pumpkin marshmallows to Giorgio Nichan and Jessica Nachan. It was a candy they'd been selling near the cash register at the shop where they'd eaten breakfast. A fancy sweet that had a big orange marshmallow in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern attached to the tip of a stick. Mario had wanted it and had insistently pestered Rosa for it. Rosa had refused, saying that there was no way she could buy sweets right after breakfast. Buy it and give it to her later. Then Mario, I don't know if they sell those in this town or not, but let's get off and try searching through them, okay? Yeah, I love you, Mama. Love you so much. Thank you. I love you too, Mario. The truth was that they didn't have time to waste loitering around at a stopover station. If they missed the airplane, they'd fall half a day behind schedule. She should have left home with more time to spare, but she ended up leaving late after choosing Mario's clothes. Because of that, Rosa had been a bit impatient since the morning. She looked at the clock. They had to go on the next train immediately. But her daughter firmly joined hands with her to go buy the sweet with her mother. That hand was warm. To Rosa, as she was now, it was more important to renew her bonds with Mario. To her, Mario was not only a beloved daughter, She was everything Rosa had. Fortunately, they could see a big supermarket right in front of the station. They might not be able to find exactly the same suite, but Mori would probably be happy with a similar one. That wasn't the case with Rose in episode 1. Besides, Rosa couldn't show up with a face swelled from crying. She must fix her makeup. Maybe we won't find a marshmallow exactly like that one, but hopefully we can find something like it. Let's buy some and surprise all your cousins together. Yeah, as long as we buy it together, any sweet is fine. They exited through the turnstiles of the station in this unknown town. Maria walked across the pedestrian crossing together with her mother, chuckling to herself as though she was walking in an amusement park. Both faces were still deep red, but the two of them, mother and child, smiled warmly at each other without any restraint. Doesn't quite read the same when we saw what happened 5 minutes ago. Hi, Juniper. Hi. Replacing Avery? Is that what's going on? Hi, honey. Aw. Junie. Oh. Junie. Sweetie. Probably didn't hear it, but she opened her mouth and just made the tiniest. Hi. June. Oh, you did it again. You, honey. Dear, what are you doing in a place like this? Oh, it's you. It's nothing. I just find this a pleasant place to think. All of our preparations for today have been completed. Why don't we have some tea and relax while we wait? Forgive me. I'm always making you handle such troublesome matters. Please, rely on me even more. I'm your wife. Naturally, I'm grateful to have you always coming to my aid. That's precisely why I'm able to devote myself to my work. I understand. I understand about your work. And the topic of father's inheritance, right? That has nothing to do with you. It's nothing more than fishing for rotten meat amongst greedy siblings. It's okay, dear. Everything will go well. Your businesses have never failed to work themselves out. Thankfully, the whole, inheritance talk between the siblings should be much, much shorter, in following episodes now. They've kind of, laid that groundwork already. We're not gonna have, the big 2-hour-long talk where, they all put their cards on the table about their businesses and talk about the gold and all that. Get to focus on more interesting things. Natsu softly cuddled close to Krause's shoulder. She complimented Krause on his hard work, but Natsu knew better than anyone that his work wasn't going well. Krause's project was something like a seesaw where a large amount of money swings. Big investments can lead to massive payoffs, but like large seesaws, they tend to shake a lot while moving very slowly, instead of showing immediate results. At times, it's possible to make further investments, so that the seesaw inclines faster towards the side you want. Of course, you would only do that if you were confident you'd be able to recover all your investments in the not-so-distant future. However, the seesaws Krause chose never turned out as he would have liked them to. His foresight wasn't wrong, but the times were moving sluggishly. They never managed to catch up with him. For example, think of a literal seesaw placed at a park. It's a really popular item, so there's always someone playing on it, and you've got to wait a long time for your turn. Let's say that one day you spotted one of those seesaws that was completely unused, and you raced to grab it first and have it all to yourself. However, unless someone got on the opposite side of the seesaw, you wouldn't be able to play on it. What if lots of time passed, and nobody came to the opposite end? Seesaws are popular, so if you wait long enough, a companion will surely show up. But Krause noticed something. The weather's getting worse, so nobody's coming outside to play. But seesaws are popular, so someone will surely come eventually. If he vacated his place because of the worsening weather, it would surely be snatched away. And once again, he'd end up longingly gazing from a distance at someone else having fun on the seesaw. On one side of the seesaw, he continued to wait patiently, all alone. That was Krause's project in his current situation. It's a really good way of explaining. Hey. Junie is so precious. You gotta keep your fur good, honey. Most nights she gets up on my chest, and I kind of try to get any mats she's developed throughout the recent days. out of her because she used to get matted up really badly and have to get shaved, and I don't want to let that happen again. Trying to take better care of her now. If only I'd had a bit more courage and the self-confidence to believe in my own foresight, I would have never failed. Yes, that's true. Your foresight is never wrong. You are the only one who would inherit Father's resourcefulness. You inherited in a position that none of the other siblings did. But I could never believe in it. I would shut my own projects down like a coward. I can't believe in myself. Who would believe in a man who can't believe in himself? Nobody believes. I'm always sitting on the seat where the losers must sit. And my father, my mother, my siblings all sneer at me. How long is it going to take for me to be set free of this emotional complex? Just how long will it take? Nancy was the only one who knew. Only she knew of Krause's anguish. As the eldest son of the Umineko family, who would soon be forced to bear an immense responsibility, he couldn't open his pained heart to anyone, and was always getting compared to his father's great enterprises. I've made preparations concerning all other matters, so that you'll be able to devote your attention entirely to the family conference. Yes, everything else has been seen to. We didn't really get to see the candid side of Krause before at all. We saw a lot of Natsuhi in private, but not Krause. We just saw him, like, putting on airs with the siblings. Thank you. Will there be any problems dealing with Father? No. Genji and Dr. Nanda are on our side. I'll never allow those greedy siblings to make contact with Father. Hey. Looks so sleepy. Hello, go to here. Yes, please leave it to me. I'm anxious to put my skills to work for the big annual job. In the kitchen, multicolored ingredients were gathered and the preliminary arrangements were promptly being started. Even though it was still morning, the ingredients for dinner were already in saucepans and steaming. Normally, he had to deal with several assorted matters, but on the day of the family conference, he could devote himself entirely to cooking. To Gota, who was originally a chef, this was surely the greatest gala occasion of the whole year. What we could Gota character development. Yes, dinner will be calf steak. A wonderful cut of meat is already anxiously waiting for tonight in the refrigerator. Please be sure to look forward to dinner. It was rare for Gota to be in this good of a mood towards his fellow servants. Gota bragged about being the Umineko family's personal chef, and knowing he was considered worthy to display his excellent cooking at the family conference was his greatest honor. Understood. I will leave everything to you. Also, is Kumasawa there? Kumasawa-san? I happened to see her earlier, but she is not here. Perhaps she went to get things ready in the guest house. Is she loafing around again? No, it is fine. Please continue with your work. Yes, leave everything to me, Gota. Genji placed the telephone back on the receiver, sighing lightly. Genji sighed once again, thinking of Kumasawa, who was probably hiding again even though things were this busy. And the ostentatious Gota, who only felt like doing anything on a day when he could show off. Excuse me, the preparations for all the rooms in the guest house are complete. We received instructions from my lady to prepare a room for 4 people, so that the children can spend the night together. So what shall we do? I hear Butler-san will be coming for the first time in 6 years. Presumably, my lady wants to stay up late into the night with her 3 cousins. Make the preparations. You do not need to tell madam. Aw. Genji's the best character. I see. Certainly. So tonight, we'll have the late night shift, followed immediately by the morning shift. It looks like these 2 days will be tiresome. Speaking of which, the weather forecast is saying a typhoon will strike in this area. Will everything be alright? Assuming the typhoon doesn't stray too far from its course, it may affect the boat ride back for the family members. The family conference's schedule might be extended until Monday or Tuesday. The task may be a long and tiring one, but I earnestly ask that you take care not to make any blunders. What? She's looking at something. Oh. It's like looking up at the ceiling. There's a fly up there or something. It's like giving something stink eye. Shannon, remain calm and do not panic. Cannon, be sure to greet our guests in a sociable manner. Yes, I'll be careful. I'll be careful. Sure he will. Today we must conduct ourselves in a manner suitable for a very important guest. See to it that you make no blunders. We understand. All guests who visit here are important. Cannon, in the true sense, we'll be receiving a very important guest today. Make sure that you are prepared. Yes, sir. Shannon, is something the matter? You seem to be uneasy. Do you have some prior engagement at this time? Huh? No, it's nothing. My apologies. Nei-san, important guests will be arriving today. Detach yourself from your private life. I don't know what you mean by private life. As Shannon blushed just a bit, she turned her gaze away from the clock. Was it about time for the airplane carrying the family to arrive at Nijima? She tried to hide the fact that her upcoming, long-awaited reunion with George was making her heart race. But Kanen, who stood beside her, seemed to see right through her. What are you looking at? Hey, sweetie. Shannon, please don't say a word and accept this. Inside a bathroom stall, George was practicing something over and over, taking out a small velvet box, hidden in his pocket like a quick-draw desert gunman. That's not it. Shannon likes men who are more assertive. I've got to pump it up with more horsepower. Shannon, put this on your ring finger. That's an order, okay? Oh my god. If I don't say properly that it's on the left hand, maybe she'll put it on her right hand. No, Shannon isn't that ignorant. But unless there's some room for her to express her free will, that'd be a little... As he crossed his arms, muttering, someone knocked on the door. George was snapped back to reality. Hey, George-kun, you okay? Got a stomachache or something? Hey, Uncle Rudolph. It's okay, I'm fine. No need to worry. Really? That's good then. But you know, you're straining way too much. Your ass will burst. Rudolph washed his hands, laughing cheerfully as he left. George, realizing that the most embarrassing part hadn't been overheard, relaxed and felt extremely relieved. He just thinks he's constipated. Kiria, isn't Rosa here yet? Not yet. She's pretty late. It's a good thing the weather is delaying our flight. If the schedule had gone on normally, she would have missed the plane. What's she plan on doing then? Rosa-san is very much an adult now. She'll manage it somehow. No matter how old they get, older brothers always treat their younger sisters like children. Of course, Dad's always a kid, no matter how old he gets. What'd you say? If I'm a kid, that'd make you a baby. Come on, Battler-chan, up you go. Stop it, that tickles. Stop. You look more like two bratty friends than a father and son. Look, she's here. Oh ho ho, if it isn't Rosa-san. Maria-chan, long time no see. Long time no see. Ooh. Maria, shouldn't that be, it's good to see you again? Greet Hideyoshi-san properly. Ooh, it's good to see you again. There you go. Well said. How about some candy as a reward? Oh, huh? Where'd I put it? Rosa-san, it's good to see you again. It's good to see you too, Maria-chan. It's been too long, Kirine-san, Hideyoshi-ni-san. And, oh my, Battler-kun? Look how big you've gotten. Ah, come on. It's embarrassing to hear that from everyone I meet. Hey, Rosa, you're late. If the plane was on time, you'd barely have made it. I'm sorry. We had some trouble making our train connection. So, are we waiting on the weather again? Oh, don't complain. I much prefer the 30-minute plane trip to spending 6 hours bouncing about on a boat. Even if we're kept waiting here for an hour, it's still much faster overall. Is that Maria? You sure have gotten big. She's at that growing age. You haven't seen her for 6 years, right? Oh, hi. Well, look at this. Look at this gift. Hi. Of course she's changed. Women are creatures who can be born again in a single day when they have a change of heart. Ooh? Arya, noticing a big man she didn't recognize mixed in among the relatives, hid behind Rose's back and glared at Battler. Come on, Battler, say hi. Last time you met her, she was just 3 years old, so you're practically meeting for the first time. Yeah, of course she wouldn't remember something that happened when she was 3. Hey, Maria, long time no see. You sure have gotten big. Maria, this is Battler and Nichan, Rudolph Nissan's son. Understand? Brother's son is... The brother is... The son... Ooh. She was obviously on her guard. After all, it was hardly surprising that she'd be scared of a large guy like Battler suddenly started speaking frankly to her. Battler noticed that as well and thought of various ways he might approach her. Then he spotted the candy she had in her hand. It was the jack-o'-lantern Sweet Rosa had bought for her. I see it's October, so that must be for Halloween. Yee, if you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank, right? Normally, trying to snatch a sweet away from a small child will result in them crying and screaming. The adults seemed dubious about Battler's tactics, but Maria looked unexpectedly pleased, her face splitting into a wide grin. Halloween, Halloween. See, Mama, Battler also knows about Halloween. See? Hey, call him Battler or Nichan. Sorry, Battler-kun. No, don't sweat it. Please call me Battler, because I'll be calling you Maria. Look, Maria, it's Halloween. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. Yeah. From inside her purse, Maria picked out a jack-o'-lantern sweet similar to the one she had in her hand and presented it to Battler. When Ballard accepted it, that seemed to be enough to confirm their friendship. The adults were amazed at how good children can be at getting along with each other. Good girl. Mari had been throwing a tantrum because she wanted a Halloween festival, so Ballard, who knew about trick-or-treating, must have felt like an ally. Her defensive posture from before was completely gone. Now she was all cheery as though they'd been friends for decades. That's right, Halloween's a pretty minor event in Japan. You always see people marching in costume parades on the news from overseas, but I've never seen it here. I wanted to wear a costume too. I wanted to say trick-or-treat with all the cousins wearing costumes. I see, I see. Next time, let's do it together. What would you like to dress up as? A witch. Beatrice. What a surprise. Oh, my lady. What are doing in such a place? She still has this mat up here. I've been trying to get this out for days, and I thought I got it yesterday. It's right behind her ear. Stubborn little one. Maybe it's a new one. That feels a bit better, maybe. Madam was looking for you. I'm here because I don't want to be found. Anyway, I'm sure she just wants to scold me like, is your appearance alright? Watch your language. Oh, without a doubt. You know, the day the family conference comes, I always start thinking about this witch for some reason. Oh, and why might that be? The family conference is the day when everyone related to Grandfather gathers. By the way, if I don't pet her for a bit, she'll, like, do a thing. Usually. Junie. No? She just, like, pushes her head up against you. Like, she puts her forehead up against your chin to, like, ask for pets. It's Scritchies. I'm blessed to have a queen like this in my house. I hear that this time, even Valor is going to be coming after 6 years. What happens if you play hair gel on a cat? Oh, actually, in Juniper's case, my ex-wife would do, like, crafts and stuff. And she had this, like, some kind of, like, gel or something. I don't know what it was. I gotta figure out what it was called, but, essentially what it was is, like, she had, like, some kind of craft that, like, she was drawing on her desk. And Juniper set her tail on it. And I think it was, like, it's like, a cup holder, kind of like these ones I have up on my shelf. About the size of a phone. She got it stuck on her. She, like, ran across the house with honor. And her hair, like, was so matted up with that stuff back here. There was no way to just wash it out. This is like the classic Disney Channel, oh no, the girl gets bubblegum stuck in her hair kind of thing. She had to be shaved. That's twice now she's had to be shaved. Once when she just got matted up really badly. And the other time when she got that, like, whatever it was, stuff stuck in her. That gel. Somewhere, I should have pictures of her being shaved, like, after, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find one. Goodness, cat. Either. Oh, yeah, I've actually posted one on Twitter before. I'm gonna bring this up. You're not gonna believe what this cat looks like when she's shaved. She's actually really happy whenever she gets shaved. You'd think she'd be, like, miserable. She seems like she really, like, gets a load off of her, though. Get ready. Get ready for this. You're not ready. There she is. So, maybe you can't tell if you've never seen, like, a shaved cat, but burn it. No. She's adorable. She's still so soft. She has, like, a tiny thin layer of, like, smooth velvet hair. She's adorable no matter what she's like. Junie is the best. I don't know why they keep like the little floof pom-pom on the tail when they shave her, but I guess that's what they do out of the bit. And of course she gets to keep like her head and face fur. It was like all the stuff like back here on her back end that got really bad. What if, just like that, some relative who hasn't shown themselves for several decades suddenly shows up? That's what I'm always thinking about. Oh, could a relative like that exist? I mean, Beatrice-sama. Nobody knows her background. Could she be grandfather's mistress from long ago? What if one of her descendants suddenly appears and tells us to return the gold we were given or something? Oh ho ho ho. Cross-sama and the others will probably discuss the master's inheritance problem this year too. Once they get so fired up talking about the witch's gold, one could hardly be surprised if that witch herself were to show up, yes? Kurosawa-san, I guess you keep quitting and getting rehired, but you've been here as long as Genji-san, right? You know more about Beatrice, don't you? Who knows? Oh ho ho, even if I try to remember it, this old woman here can't even recall what she had for breakfast this morning. Kurosawa-san, you're always dodging with those excuses, but you know something, right? Sometimes you feel kind of devious, like you know something and you're laughing behind our backs. Kurosawa's the killer. Oh ho ho, that's harsh. I don't have any secrets. The only thing I can say is that Beatrice-sama is the Golden Witch, and that she is the other master who controls the night of this island. Okay, now you're just repeating stuff grandfather said. It must be a pain to play along with grandfather's crap, even though you get paid for it. However, I can say this much. What? In ancient times, Rakenjima was feared and called Azukishima, Azuki Bean Island. The Azuki is said to be a corrupted form of Akujiki, and it was in fact called Akujikishima, Evil Appetite Island. That is what is told among the fishermen. I've heard about that before. Supposedly, there was lots of sunken rocks and shipwrecks around here, so the fishermen got scared and stayed away whenever they could, right? Evil spirits settled down in Akujikishima and have continually eaten the souls of people since ancient times. Quite a few people lost their lives because of this island. And then that monk, the traveling Shugenja or whatever, built that shrine, reposed the souls and settled them there, right? Sounds pretty crazy though. That shrine for the repose of souls was destroyed by an eerily violent. Is that right? Violet? Okay. Violet thunderbolt this summer, which tore up the darkness of the night. Kurosawa-san, you really like those stories. Okay, sure, it'd be pretty creepy if a thunderbolt took out a shrine. But well, it was all worn out from the start. Maybe it just got washed away by some big wave. The evil spirits of Akujikishima woke from their slumber and summoned Beatrice-sama. If Beatrice-sama happens to pay a visit to the family conference. If she does? Kurosawa fell silent for a moment. Jessica was pressing her to keep going, so that gap felt strange and eerie. When Kurosawa noticed that she had Jessica plenty scared with her silence, she grinned broadly. Well now, I wonder what would happen. Oh ho 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 ho. She just likes telling scary stories. Oh, that sounds great. Of course. Won't you be able to do better work? If you get a chance to enrich your heart by living the good life every once in a while. Yep. Can't live right unless both your wallet and your heart are enriched after all. Sure, I'll keep that day open. Go ahead and make reservations. Okay. Don't even think of missing it. Yeah, I'm counting on you. I love you, Kitty Ape. Is this a flashback to something? After kissing the receiver, Rudolph hung up. Before his seat, there were several executives with their sleeves rolled up, eagerly awaiting the end of that phone call. Sorry to keep you waiting. Have we heard anything from the States yet? Yes. You have a call from Dale Watanabe, the lawyer. I'll transfer it. On the whole, how's it going? Well, there does seem to be one unfortunate matter. It appears the other party has no intentions of withdrawing from the trial. Guess there's no fooling them. Please, transfer it here. Understood. I'll do that right away. The executive ordered that the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. At once, the phone in front of Rudolph rang. Hey there. Hello, hello. Sorry for the wait. Ushimida speaking. Thanks. How's it going on your end? Hello, President Ushimida. Let's skip the pleasantries and jump into the main issue. I've got good news and bad news. Which would you like first? Might as well start with the bad. I hate fighting when there's no dessert. Very well. The bad news is the other party is getting ready to prosecute. Just a few days ago, a similar trial resulted in a decision in favor of the plaintiff. The defendants were using roughly the same arguments we planned to use, but they were rejected in every case. Afraid to say it, but if we face the courtroom as we are now, it's extremely likely that each one of our claims will get rejected. So that trial ended up being a total bust after all. And I thought their position was even more solid than ours. That hurts. Okay, what about the good news? I managed to contact the executives of the other party. I explained the situation we're in, told them we have no intentions of tarnishing the brand's image. Managed to get an understanding. They'll send us their terms over the next few days, and if those are carried out, they promise to withdraw their charges. Well, that's good. This is the proposal, according to the number 2 man on the board of directors. Your impression? To be honest, I expect their terms will be extremely severe. We estimate that changing the company name and the brand name will be inevitable. I think we'll be able to earn some leeway by playing with the amount of settlement money, making a public apology in a major newspaper, and carrying all this out within a reasonable amount of time. They sure are making this complicated when they could just tell us to go broke. They only recently switched to a new president, and their groundwork hasn't been completely laid yet. If we resist until the better end, they fear the forces opposing the current president won't hesitate to aid their enemies. Hence, their big shots want this matter settled as quickly as possible, too. So we might still have enough leeway to get them to mitigate their terms if it'll lead to a quick settlement. Either way, are we still looking at a crazy sum of money? You need to be prepared for that. Even that would be much cheaper than paying punitive damages. Thank you very much, sir. Please contact me if anything new happens. We're paying you the big bucks, so no idle chit-chat. Haha. Thank you, goodbye. Rudolph hung up the phone. The executives sitting in the reception seats seemed to have guessed at the contents of that discussion. You guys hear that? Simply put, they'll forgive us if we can pile up enough money. Now all we've got to do is haggle over the amount of that money. But President, the likely sum of the settlement Mr. Watanabe indicated is too much. We don't have that much of a margin. If we'd known this would happen, we would have never started diversifying. The calculations were that we could escape a capital crisis if we managed to endure for 3 years. To think we'd be stabbed at a time like this. How bad can our luck get? I guess we fell at the step of the hop, step, and jump. It's enough to make you cry. We have no choice but to draw the money from the main bank. Banks are no good. They only bet their money on winners. The economy's improving, but we can't show weakness to the banks. President, do we have access to any funds that are unaccounted for? Funds we are unaware of? Quit it. Do I look like that kind of man? The contents on my wallet are totally exposed to you guys, okay? The account books over there show all our company has. In that case, we need to raise money. We need a sponsor who can draw on several million for us as soon as possible. President, couldn't something be worked out with one of your personal connections? President. Calm down, you bastards. Let me worry about raising the money. You guys just keep the business running without making too much noise. Our accusers are saying they'll let us be if we can show them the money. We've already got thick pipelines in Asia. Things will probably be shaky, but we'll be able to maintain our current deals. Basically, if we can just bring the money together, we'll be able to solve all our problems. Just you watch. I'll fix all this. I won't leave you out in the cold. Time to start getting your hopes up again. Once this is all behind us, I'll be rewarding all of you guys with a champagne tower. I promise you that. So shut up and follow me. Got it? The airplane suddenly shook, probably due to turbulence. Rudolph was jostled awake. He'd awoken early that morning and ended up drifting off to sleep while resting in his seat. You okay? Are you sure you aren't still pretty sleepy? After all, it seems you've been really busy with work lately. He's probably coping. He's probably desperate he can get money from his dad. But what do you think the odds of that are? What are the odds he's gonna just see his dad? Being busy with work is nothing to complain about, right? Once I've got nothing left to do, it won't be long before we're out in the cold. Good point. Now that even Battler comes back, we'd be looking at worse than just the two of us going around begging. Reminder, Battler went to live with his grandmother for 6 years. Now he's back with his dad and his stepmother. Which is why he's going to be at the conference this year for the first time in ages. He essentially got mad at his dad for wanting to remarry after his mom died. Yeah, our family's all together again for the first time in 6 years. So the leader of our family has got to give it his best if we want to spend some time alone together. When he looked out the window, he saw that the airplane had already started to drop in altitude considerably. The fishing boats, which had only looked like black grains a short while ago, were starting to become clearly recognizable. Entire family, huh? If I could prostrate myself before father and get 10 million yen every time he slugged me, I'd do it a dozen times. Or maybe he could just go and die already. I've always depended heavily on his financial support, and now I'm after his inheritance. I'm headed straight to hell. I can hardly complain if father doesn't want to meet the man if I come. Poor Rudolph. Kinda. Feel a little sorry for him. I have no plans of doing such. Could it be that, once again, you do not plan on making an appearance at the family conference? Nanjo looked at Kinzo's face, sighing. Kinzo's eyes remained rooted to a strange book on magic. I have no intention of joining those vultures in their debate. They can discuss how they'll suck my bones dry on their own. How utterly contemptible. My, troublesome. Nanjo shook his head slightly. To him, children and grandchildren were lovely things. He believed watching them grow was the only way to truly enjoy old age. So, Kinzo's words were very saddening to Nanjo. If the time comes for me to leave this room, I will show myself. Just as she does not show herself yet. When Kinzo raised his face, his gaze pointed at the portrait of the witch, which was respectfully displayed on the wall. Kinzo's mind didn't dwell for a moment on the fact that today was the family conference, where all of his beloved relatives would gather. It was filled only by the face of the witch in the oil painting, who never smiled except inside the portrait. That's barely a smile. Everybody knew that interrupting Kinzo when he talked to Beatrice would trigger his wrath. Today, I will hold a certain ceremony. Oh, and what might that be? Perhaps it is closer to a gamble than a ceremony. After all, magic without risk could never house a miracle. Nanjo had heard Kinzo say this many times before. You might even call it a pet phrase of Kinzo's. Kinzo apparently believed that magic and miracles could occur if you gambled your own fate with a certain amount of risk and triumphed. I wonder what sort of gamble you're making, as the man who was once called the Golden Gambler, and who's now so old he might pass on any time. This should be well worth watching. I see. So the secret ritual I've developed after much research appears to be nothing more than a gamble to one unversed in magic such as you. Very well. If I have faith in miracles win, you will see clearly on this day that all my research did bear fruit, despite it seeming to be little more than a product of my eccentricity. If you win, it will all end just as you have already seen, as nothing more than the eccentricity of an old man who might leave this world at any time. Oh, just what sort of gamble could you be planning to take? As your friend, that bet, or ceremony as you called it. I can only pray most sincerely that you achieve victory in it. Yes, I thank you. Speaking of which, Kinzo-san, have you heard that a much longed-for guest will be present at the family conference this year? What? For once, Kinzo reacted to Nanjo's words and turned around. That's right, Balor could from Rudolph-san's family. I hear he'll be coming after an absence of 6 years. I'm sure he's become a splendid boy. Oh, Battler. I wouldn't call him longed for. I guess just failed to show up for a mere 6 years. After hearing Battler's name and making a disappointed and ill-humored expression, Kinzo turned his back again. I imagine those 6 years went by in a flash for you, considering how much you've immersed yourself in your research in this room. However, we might actually receive a visit from a truly longed-for guest. Everything depends on the results of the roulette. The roulette has already started to spin. Will it be rouge or noir? Tonight, let us enjoy ourselves as we see what kind of miracle the roulette will show us. The payoffs are large. I don't intend to lose. Beatrice, accept my bet. At that time, the telephone on the table rang. The piercing sound seemed to irritate Kinzo. And he picked up the receiver to preserve the sounds as much as he could. What is it? I'm busy. Genji speaking. Everyone has arrived. What of it? Just serve them some tea or something. Certainly. I will do so. Kinzo hung up the phone brutally. Looking at that, Nanjo sighed yet again and shifted his attention outside the window. As he is now, I doubt Kinzo would pay any heed to any sort of guest. Could any guest possibly make Kinzo come out when the time comes, as he said? Kinzo had a single person in mind, but that was a guest who certainly wouldn't appear. Nanjo stared at the witch of the portrait with her impassive expression, unable to decide whether she was smiling or sad, and then gazed up at the lead-colored sky. Oh no, here we go. So, are all the pieces in place? Should we line them up again and start a new game? Any objections from you? Nope, none. The witch looked at him challengingly while elegantly smoking her pipe. And Battler? He just rudely shrugged his shoulders as if he didn't care what she did. He didn't meet her eyes, but that didn't mean he didn't intend to challenge her. It showed his clear determination to never be taken in by this bastard's tricks. It was an expression of his determination to fight. Don't tell me you're jumping into this without a plan. I don't even know how you'll make your first move, so I've got no plans or anything. Go ahead and move first. Naturally, I'll do so. How shall I break down your defenses? How many moves will it take to checkmate you? This is where you'll see me at my finest. No matter what moves you come at me with, I won't believe in you. As long as I stand my ground at that point, I won't lose. If that means This game is built in a way that makes it impossible for you to win. Perhaps you're right. However, I'm the one who decides how many times we'll hold this game. We'll repeat it over and over again until I win and you acknowledge your defeat. See? In other words, this is torture. An eternal torture that shall continue until you surrender to me. It shall go on endlessly until you acknowledge me and the existence of witches. Then I'll play your game endlessly as many times as it takes until you run out of patience. I've never lost in a test of stubbornness. Unstoppable force hits immovable object. Two stubborn assholes. Oh, did a certain witch plant that idea in your head? Very well. I'm tired of listening to you ramble. Come on, get this started. Then let us begin. I already know all of your moves. A defense doesn't amount to much if the plan behind it's known. Don't think you'll be able to defy me with the same moves. Beatrice, I've got just one thing to say before we start. What is it? Go ahead and say whatever you want. However, whether I believe you is something I'll decide for myself. No matter how impressive this magic of yours is, my soul won't yield to you. You think this is torture for me? You're wrong. Then what else could it be? This is torture for you. Someday you'll surrender to me and give up. Until then, you'll be tortured over and over again. I think it was pure chance that the music did that just now, by the way. How amusing. What an entertaining metaphor. Torture where we torment each other. Yes, truly amusing. Come, shall we begin that torture? Ushiramiro battle. Oh, she said it for the first time. Battle. So, I won't give too much perspective on it. No, the game just started, actually. You'll see exactly what that means next time, if you're not already aware of Umineko and how it works. There we go, finally, the perfect time to end a session. Good, that couldn't have been any more perfect, honestly. Look, she's on the chart this time. Beatrice is on the chart today. So, the epitaph. Everyone else is here just like normal. Good. You know, there actually is an Umineko fighting game. I don't think there's like any events that happen in it that are like new or like add to the canon. It's mostly just really silly things. I don't know, like fan service kind of fights. But when part 3 or so comes around, maybe in part 2, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, here in part 2, I think we're gonna start seeing fight scenes in Umineko. In a mystery novel, there's gonna be fight scenes, fantasy fight scenes. You'll see. It's gonna be ridiculous. I mean, there's only gonna be so much because it's a visual novel, but use your imagination a bit. You know, just envision what's happening in perfect detail, or go watch the anime alongside this. Okay, time to switch over to Labyrinth.